You're not going to take off your socks?
Why?
I'm just asking.
Okay, you want us to look the same?
No.
Is it a thing?
No, it's true.
Romance.
Let's
being
record
recorded. How romance? Why do you want us to look the same?
Guys, please let me know if like my phone is showing or if there's a funny light so I can turn it upside down and I'll just check it.
I didn't know. Oh boy, ufuna's fun.
Are we ready to go?
Let's record. We've been recording. You don't have to clap.
The Penuel Show.
You don't have to.
Hey, shut up. The Penuel Show episode, because you can't count, probably late 30s, early 40s. Whoop, whoop.
No, it's episode 42 or something. Episode MacG?
41.
Damn. Episode 41. Dude, I was asking, why don't you masturbate?
No, we're not going to start there. So you're going to ask me questions?
Yeah, I'm sitting in your chair, Vandag.
Young interview.
Yeah.
Is it an interview?
No, it's not. You know one thing I've always wanted to ask you?
One of the things I wanted us to do once a month, which I think I told you about, is to catch up on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I think even with 2 season Kgomotso, even if we swap and just have that episode where uhlale and until you're like, hey, Pen, I'm not feeling what, I'm not. We speak about things like having female guests, which the comments like bringing up, which annoy me, bring other races. And in Tanyanyisa is that people think we have easy access to all these people, which is kind of annoying.
But that's something that you created. I mean, you can't blame the people.
No, I'm not blaming the people. But when we sit, we get a chance to school them. It's almost like a behind the scenes of which when people send comments. Because with the Penuel Show, the only time I get to engage is in the comments. But it's not on screen. Abanyaman don't read comments. But unpack and then you say, look, we speak about how we've got a new camera.
But you know, Pen, when you sit...
No, it is not my curtains, manje.
Curtains.
Aircon, angeke usabona my guest the thing, Pen, you know, and you're like, yes, then what's that to Pen ubuze shisa? You're like, no, it's the room. It's the room shisa.
No, we have to improve. But you know what I'm realizing? You know, no, but we must really get to a point in this show where...
And thanks for the chairs, by the way.
Sure.
People must know who to bani place a Penuel Show.
Hey,
you're the guy who actually is the sellout, not me.
Why are you laughing, man?
Abantu mabefuna isellout mele babheke ukuthi say hayi lo mjidi uyithola aphi inyungu ngoba ngathi usikhothenyana.
No, we're trying to improve the show, man. That's the biggest thing. And the thing is
reinvesting in the craft.
But you must understand, Tina.
Hey, like Max in Durban.
Yeah, Tina, we're very technical people. So where we make sure you don't fault us is where we perform. Technical, baba. It doesn't matter who you are. So it's in our DNA, the technical stuff.
We never spoke about on camera your heartbreak with MacG's comment.
MacG nyanyisile mina. MacG flow by.
But it was disappointing, right?
It was.
Especially for him. Especially for him.
See, now when you say especially for him.
I'm saying this, no. I'm saying especially for him because you'd assume MacG, having been in the industry for so long, would have seen enough highly talented black people behind cameras that work in production. So for him to assume that something of such a high caliber has to come from Ongamla money, means that he himself has got an inferiority complex, which we normally assign to normal people. Because abantu abazi, so they'll be like, oh, okay, and you're like, but it's you, dog. You're meant to know there are, let's say it's a production, and you're like, the director's black. And you're like, you can't say that. Someone else can say that, not you. You get what I mean?
But is it the fact that we made the assumption that he shouldn't think like that? It's like the thing you're saying earlier about I'm a politician. We made an assumption that they must stand for the people. I don't know what you're speaking about, but they're supposed to become this thing. So we make them seem like that. Why would you assume that MacG can't bring up a comment like that?
I think at some point I must unpack my thoughts around podcast and chill.
Yeah.
And unpack exactly how I feel about podcast and chill, the good and the bad. I think it would be a very nice conversation. I'll upset a lot of the chillers, of course.
No, not here.
Just on any platform. Anyways, MacG has built a license as someone who says whatever he wants, which is dope. And it's one of the reasons why we love him. It's one of the reasons. Look, the other thing about Podcast and Chill and MacGyver in particular is I admire him. I'm watching how he's moving because I want to copy some of his intelligent moves and I want to avoid some of his dumb moves. You know, so I'm watching him. I'm a fan. I pay to the show.
Can you pay? You remember what?
I'm a chiller. Yeah,
what are our people called?
Chiller. Our people. I'm a Penuelist, which is wrong. But that's also
the
fine.
subscribe people. You call them Penuelists.
I don't call them. They've called themselves that.
What do you want to call them?
Now we'll come up with a name.
Penuel.
I was going to say I'm a pennies.
Penises.
That doesn't work.
Penice.
I'm a pennies.
I'm a penice.
I'm a pennies. Huh?
That doesn't work.
I'm a pennies. No, that won't fucking work at all. No, Penuelist won't work, man. But we'll come up with something.
Why?
Like I'm a penzo, I'm a tazo. Huh? Yeah, but
It's
Penuelists are people that follow my religion.
What religion you are, man? All black.
We're going on a tangent.
No.
Asking me? Oh, politicians.
No, you know what I've always wanted to.
You were asking something about MacG. Let me answer your questions first.
Yeah.
It's cool that MacG still gets to give his uncensored, unfiltered thoughts. And if he sees me with Rob Hersoff, and he's like, I know how long it took us to build Podcast and Chill. Upenuel uhamba ngethes. 1 + 1 is 2. Obviously, it's funded. And he's hanging around white billionaires. Duh. So he's allowed to say that because other people would think that. But you got disappointed because in your head, you're like, it's almost like, what's the point of fucking black excellence? If black people are being excellent, and then someone with an influential voice like him is going to say something that is almost going to discredit. By the time I'm like, guys, no Tebs, no Cyril, no Kgomotso, no Q, no Yenzi, it will be like, I'm a front. And you're like, so you guys really suffer from an inferiority complex.
That's what hit me.
So that was the one thing. The second thing was, I was saying, we've made this mistake, especially in this bullshit democracy we have, of thinking that our leaders must be representatives of the majority and the average. And that is wrong because even ekhaya, if ingane is 7 and abazali bawu 2, if we look at pure democracy, that means you need to find a leader that's the average. And the average is a child. And mhlambe the child is 7. The leader is meant to be the smartest, most strategic. And la eMzansi, we're not ready, especially because abelungu mfethu basijwayela amasimba, but we're not ready for the best leader. Whether they are black, white, Indian, Chinese, whether they weren't born here, to a point where, what was my other point? My point was where people work. People don't say, let me go and find, body shaming. Let's go and find a fat, black woman who comes from the village, and then I'm going to work for her because she represents what I understand.
Is that how black people talk? Why you
this is how Musi Maimani and some of the politicians speak when they are addressing the masses. But you guys spoke about Wele. So when people are looking for a job, they don't go for an employer that looks like them and represents them. They go for an employer with a great business that offers great value, a great product, great service, where they can earn a decent salary. When it comes to running a country, which is more important than running a business, all of a sudden you want representation.
Yeah.
And look, representation is important for many reasons. But if you're trying to build something and you want to say, I'm going to ignore the best guy and I'm going to go for the guy who looks like the average person, that person must teach my child. I can't find the genius best teacher. No. Because that one looks Indian or colored. Mele kube umuntu ocisha afane nami. Noma is dome, it's fine as long as ifana nami. And then you wonder why ingane yakho is dome.
But I think people know pen no so yanyiwa ntwana. Noma gogo ami mfethu oya complainer. She knows politics, angazi from where kwenzakalani, but I think the average person now is really at a point where they're like, whoever is going to lead. Like now I'm getting to a point, I'm like, whoever can give us power.
Oh,
electricity. I'm really at that point. We are pink, yellow, we in. I'm really at that point. I'm like, Anton, if you can just switch on the lights and give us power. Because without power, none of us can function. Like there's no country. So I think people are really at that point.
Are they not?
You don't think so?
Please can you sit back, Fetz, and feel if the chair is comfortable? This is a test drive episode, whatever, and unpacking.
If you so, I feel like you're in control. I'm so.
You're not comfortable.
It's too. I have to get used to it.
No, but I need you have to pretend you're a guest. It's not just about you.
Yeah, it's one.
Because now if you're uncomfortable, next guest, you're going to realize
No, I'm good.
the chair is not comfortable.
No, I'm good. The only complaint are these two things. I remember Ike, even the Caesars complain about these things are too close to each other. That's why
You can't put your legs in.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when I sit, my leg is out. Just
You don't think people are ready?
Abantu banokungihlela ukuthi ngigqoke isikhindi. And people had a fat laugh. Kgomotso told me to take off my top.
Yeah, Pen. You know, I think we all saw it, ne? Marite masi pega. Q, melofag a screen grab somewhere here. When I saw it, I'm like, I saw it. When I saw it, but I'm like, nah, but this is Pen. And he can be whatever he wants. So when Kgomotso did that, I was like, ish, he shouldn't have.
It was mixed feelings.
Yeah, I was like, hey man, he shouldn't have done it.
No, yeah, it's mixed feelings, but it's chilled.
He shouldn't have done it.
You didn't like the top, sis? Or you didn't care?
Like,
you don't care, as long as chill vibes.
It's inconsequential. People never watch and feel like, oh, did you see Penuel's?
Because no one tunes into the Penuel Show to see my fashion sense.
Draw attention to it.
Sure.
Whereas previously, people have seen you with shorts and they make just fleeting comments. Hey, Penuel, why barefoot?
Shorts, barefoot.
You know, but it's never like a focus.
Kgomotso was not having it, boy. He was like, if my fucking name is going on the credits, people ask, gee, you let this slide.
Well, he's not even here while we're recording. He's somewhere. We don't know where he is. He's not here. Here, there, at that slider there. So you mustn't listen to that guy.
Kgomotso is the ghost.
I was sad a little bit, to be honest. Because I was like, it might do something to you.
Oh.
You might be more self-aware. Man, show kitchen also a pep man would think I need keeper. And I'm gonna take his keeper in 10 years that time.
I think it was a good experience. So nuanced conversations.
Yeah.
And the nuanced conversations are so useless. But the nuanced conversations is little moments like that make you consider, what are we doing here? Why am I doing? Do I really want to? Because once you take it off, that's actually what selling out is. Pen, are you comfortable at the top? Yes. Why did you take it off? Because Kgomotso said so. Why did Kgomotso say so? Well, number one, he doesn't like it. Number two, he thought the audience, like that means now you're doing for the audience. Tomorrow, if the audience says, please don't invite this guy back, please bring him, that means now we have to listen to them. But if Kgomotso was like, dog, I know this is not you. Okay, I know you like pitch black, and Nami, I said it's a very comfortable top, but I knew it was fading. So I was happy to sell out. I could have taken it off, but then I could have spoken about it afterwards and be like, gents, I actually like this top. And I'm actually going to keep it on. But I was like, actually, I don't mind getting rid of it. It's chilled. It's because at the end of the day, we're also family. At the end of the day, we're also family, bro.
Yeah.
So, and I'd like to think we care about each other.
Yeah, we do.
So if I tell you, chef, it's not because I think,
I'm
people are not going to give you a job.
I mean, with my beard, no.
It's because I care about you as your brother. I'm like, okay, sure,
no.
Because the point is not to wear faded black as a Penuelist. It's to wear black. Uguti, that top was fucking comfortable, bro. But, yeah, it's fine.
What did you do with the top?
Kgomotso was so disturbed.
What did you do with the top?
Please, I'm sorry. Take that thing off.
Come to cut it on screen.
It was on screen.
Which episode was it?
I think there was there a lady here?
Yeah.
There was a lady here.
That's why he did it.
Because there was a lady here.
Bagafuna points.
Oh,
that's all. Why didn't he do it when there was a guy?
Motherfucker. Motherfucker. Oh,
no, I'm telling you.
Kgomotso actually has
Yes, yeah. No, that's it.
Hey, I like what you did to Pen.
A man will never be deliberately nice to another man. Upegi surrounding. Unomfaz.
As mina noma sikhuluma mfethu, we cover a million topics at once, and I worry that we don't finish covering.
Oh, but we don't have too much. You know,
are you happy with the Penuel Show, bro?
I'm happy, man. You know,
we're partners.
Yeah, we're
it's
partners.
It's fine for people to know.
Yeah, we're partners, I guess. Damn. You know where I was.
Imali, we told our bro. People want to know. Why are we shooting? Who's funding this thing?
No one is funding this thing. This thing, it came to be. Well,
we scrounged some resources and
no, man, you know.
But I've explained to people, and they have an idea that there's a production company that you are involved in, and that production company happens to have equipment because it does its own work, And the production company was like, say, this vodcasting is popping.
Yeah.
We have equipment that you guys can kind of use now and then, just so people know. Because one of the things I've said when people ask, say, Baba, your cameras, how much? I'm like, please don't. Please don't use the Penuel Show as a benchmark, because this is not YouTube money, and YouTube money will probably never fund this, which is why MacG and them also get frustrated, because YouTube money would never be able to afford this. Sbolegile, squatile.
But Pen, don't you think you're destroying that boy? You know, I've always wanted to have this convo with you. When someone's the up and coming artist, I guess.
Sure.
When they're asking you about the cameras, and I'm not saying you must know details about the cameras, but why are you not saying that must be something that must work towards? Don't you think you're crushing them?
I don't think they must work towards it, to be honest.
Okay.
So I play for, very quickly I made the Springboks, I think. So we're not meant to be this big, this soon.
Yeah.
I think we skipped steps, in terms of how big this show has gotten very quickly. Because YouTube is also difficult to scale.
Yeah.
I made the Springboks very quickly, and I wear sponsored boots that come specifically from the Adidas factory in Germany.
Okay.
So Intuana's like, say, Pen, how much are your boots? I don't need to tell him to aspire to wear these boots. I need to tell him to work on his craft. That's what's more important for me. So I tell people, go and watch Penuel the Black Pen, where I film on my phone every day. Go watch that. That's where you're meant to be. Focus on having dope content. Focus on getting people to like you. Then when you see it, I think I've got something here. It doesn't have to be YouTube money. Your family, your friends can borrow you, borrow this camera. Or what, like, you've been watching my content for a while. And
yes,
your production company's been around for a while now. And you're like, Pen, Ntwana, let's shoot. This was 3, 4, 5 years ago. Because you saw value in me. So by the time the Penuel Show was born, it wasn't because I came and I pitched, hey, I want a certain quality. So I wasn't focusing on, and these kids, when they start, that stuff is going to come up. So if I see a kid like that popping, I can be like, look, I think you must invest in cameras. Look, come visit the Penuel Show and maybe speak to the guys. But you can't. Have you got a channel? Have you got any content? No, I'm thinking of starting camera 50 million when you stuttering on the fucking mic. Hi guys, welcome to my podcast. And today, hey, those honeys, boy, yo, hey, fuck, you wanna fuck those bitches? And you're like, no, hey, Baba, you've wasted a whole lot of money on Amasim, but when you should have focused on the craft.
So you're looking at their reality, and you're looking from a growth perspective. They must start where they are at. Like, no,
I've got a responsibility to truly empower people that ask me, because I can bullshit. The bullshitting is easy. I can be like, if you work really hard, if you invest a bit of money, I think just keep at it. I believe in you. I believe in you. And the kid is like, yeah, Pen said, but I'm bullshit. So if you go into this thing, you must know. People that want to go into the industry, for example, they don't know there's no money here.
Yeah.
Because they see celebs and they think, I have a responsibility because I was a kid and I wish someone could have told me the truth. And now I have a chance and then I'm going to go lie. Why?
Forget about
And
how do they react after?
They're like, Pen, what? No, but I hear you. But then from there again, also if you really want it.
You'll do it, Baba.
If you really want it and you really want to know, you'll ask. You'll keep asking. You'll be like, look, I've saved some money. Is it enough? Then I can be like, look, because other people have detailed conversations. So I tell them, look, startup cameras, brand new, you're looking at good quality, 25,000 each, and you need 1 or 2, depending on how you're doing yourself. Is it 2 of you? You can put 1 camera, and then 1, if someone can man it. And then mics, Njengamanje, to be fully honest, I'm not understanding. We had sound issues when we started here.
Yeah.
On the Hustlers Corner with Usbu, maybe not so much on the Virtual Mkuk. On the Hustlers Corner, there were a lot of complaints about sound. I've never had complaints about sound filming on my phone.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's close. But some people would ask, what? Did you connect a mic to it? There's no mic. And at some point, because I used to compress my videos on my phone. And then I stopped compressing because I realized higher quality means reach on YouTube. I think Nota said it, and then some other people were like, yeah, you've upgraded your camera. I'm like, it's still the same phone. Why is the screen changed? I'm like, because I just stopped compressing. So one of the things I'm trying to figure out is, do we need cameras and expensive cameras? Do we need microphones? There's this thing that now some of these content creators do where they go around interviewing people. Hey, so Tebza, how much do you make per month? And then so his sound picks up here, and you're like, is that not good enough? And if we have phones, because phones are affordable, nyana, we put 2-3 phones, maybe someone to man, and then you have a phone there to pick up audio. I have a phone here, and we're good. And it's like, why are kids not doing that? Because alternative social media was meant to be about low barriers to entry.
Yeah.
And it was about
anyone can get in.
And it was about the reason we can't be big is because we can't get on SAPC, multi-choice, ETV. So
do it.
Now we're creating new barriers of entry. I want to start a podcast, but Upen said it cost $1 million. MacG says it cost 3 million. Usbu says it cost 2.5. And you're like, hey, Dwana, so I need to save money before I start my thing. You don't need that. You know, some of my best videos on my YouTube channel, there's one in Isha Nosia. We were in my test, sustain the track yakuti loadwe, and we were speaking about the issues of black people and laziness in the country. And I think to date, maybe it has, I'm gonna guess, maybe 25,000 views, which I shot back then.
Yeah.
Poor quality. But I'm like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to have expensive cameras, or are you trying to create
have a conversation
content and have reach? Because there are kids that spend 100,000 on a music video, which ends up with 2,000
no one sees
views.
it. Hey, that's another thing, man. I remember OM Films, they always say when people go to them for music videos, they're like, before you even do a music video, if you're a new kid, who knows the song? Whatever music,
that's
whatever money you're gonna use, pump it in people knowing your song. Forget the music video.
And Scrooge has said this even on social media.
Yeah.
He said, if you think your song is dope, pump the song. Let people like the song, then be like, okay, I think let's add visual.
Yeah.
Don't just...
Well, at the same time, but you don't blame them.
And you can't afford it.
Yeah, but you can't blame them, man. I say, man, visuals are a thing. You know what? One idea I've always thought of, Mfethu. What do you think would happen if we give Amahobo like a podcast?
Israel Matseke Zulu is trying to do that now.
That.
No.
What do you think of that?
I don't think it'll work.
You don't think so?
No. I take that back. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm saying what I've realized about conversations, and their gender network has worked, luckily, because they have found storytellers. I don't know how much content they have.
Yeah.
I don't know how much content they have. But they've found storytellers. Because
Q gonna feed them.
How do Q?
Yeah.
You want to interview people, but people are scared. People are nervous. Sometimes the interviewer's got a gift of getting people to just open up. But to just go randomly to hobos and assume they'll give you dope content is dangerous. Same with prostitutes. You want to go to End Street, Egoli, and Nugget. And you just to access is malini around. Mina 50 rand, mina uTexas ugayi 50 rand, but ngicela ukushaya video wathi ngizoyifaka. Ngizobukwa ubani la. Abantu mabesebe, you know, you think that might be dope and real authentic conversation, but then you might watch it back and be like, I don't know. So you want to find storytellers, bro. You want to find storytellers. And sometimes the storyteller is not vodcasting, podcasting with the hobos. It might just be like, machitangela nje just ukunfilma. Ninaqhubekani ntonsi inqola niyajova, and I'm just here. And every now and then mhlawumbe ngizonibuza yini ke manje nijovayo. Hayi lena prepare le hayi angazikutshele usingeze ematrablini.
You've always wanted to do that as well, man. I remember we spoke about it last year.
There's a lot of wanted to do, and I like Humans. We both like Humans, the documentary. The Gender Network was dope. There's so much content we're sleeping on, and one of the sad things, because you speak to the kids but they don't listen.
Yeah.
Oh, look, leadership is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
You're telling kids the Penuel Show is the Penuel Show because Penuel and Penuel knows these people.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. DJ Spoo's been in the industry. He knows all those people for whatever reason. MacG was in the industry and his podcast has been popping. Sure. You are from Emadadeni in Newcastle. No one knows Emadadeni in Newcastle. That gives you something unique. You have a monopoly on the stories there. But ufuna ukuze eGoli to come and interview the same people. Why? Go and find the time mfethu lapha namabhasi. Bamtshangasa njani? Umfana wami usubuyile. Hayi baba sicela nje and when there's breaking news, this is the other thing about alternative media. We're meant to be giving news on the ground that people, SABC still has to travel.
You are SABC.
You're there. Yeah. You're like, someone got shot. You're like, Ntwana, asithatha amafoni siyavaya. Sanibona gogo njani? Hey, ngiyaphila kwenze njani? Hey, yazi kuvele kwaqhuma la mfana, awusikhombise gogo. Up. And you're like, this is content. Don't.
And that's the model of Getty Images and Vice. Is that they'd have, I think the New York Times now is trying to do it as well, where you'd have, what are they called? People in different cities. There's a term for them. Correspondents, where you just hoy them anywhere. Whatever hits, I want to stress.
That's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
You'd think, and this is where the education system has failed us, and that's where maybe we, as alternative voices, are also failing. Where you need a step-by-step guide. Guys, ma on your phone, outsini kombis, sis, asami siya Alex. Masifika Alex. Guys, this is how it happens here. Okay, sayizulele. Oh, na indawo yamakota. Could this be content? Okay, akekho umuntu wazi nendawo yamakota, but mhlawumbe beyazi asondele. Awusanibona. Besacela ukushaya ivideo la indawo yamakota. Oh, okay. Guys, this is a little bit of content. Into soyenza so nquma kanje. Sihlangane ekseni amajita eshisa something. This could be content. Guys, shawa kanje. Out this interview isicela ekseba fethu sicela ukubuza something. Hayi khululekani. Okay, hi, sorry. So, and you're like, this is how content is created. Ingane like, oh, okay. Because people will learn how to trade Forex, cryptos, but they don't want to learn how to make content that makes sense and that moves. And after we've created content, the other thing we haven't mastered because of algorithms is how do we take South African content and pump it in Russia and in China and America? Because it's nice to be relevant here, but we're sleeping on foreign markets, which is what the internet is actually meant to be doing. Breaking down the cost and breaking down the barriers so that you're like, hi guys, it's me, Penzo. I'm here in Dubai. But I want to show you guys the dirtiest size of it Dubai. Hi, hambani namasvai. Fee utekse. So then people are like, okay, this is interesting. But now, and look, we've got limited time. Because if we're here shooting the Penuel Show on a regular, and then I shoot the virtual Mkuku, we don't have time to be creative. And that's why you almost want to create or find a group of kids that will go to spaces you can't. You want to find hustling female podcasters, content creators who are like, I'm going to go sit with the rape victims. And we're not here to create content. Because if that's your why, you've already fucked up. Because you want her to, and you're like, what are you trying to do here? You want to speak with rape victims because you're trying to be like, girls, this is how it happens.
Yeah,
and we're trying to help you guys avoid getting raped. And we're trying to help namachita that mhlawumbe at some point almost raped or maybe might would machita katana into ezoyenze again. Ufuna ungene ejele as machita niya rape ngempela la or skipani and have an authentic so that you can be like, guys, avoid jail. Or if you ever land in jail, we're teaching you guys how to survive in jail. Yeah, but there's corrupt cops and wardens. If your why is, how many views did we get? Oh, no, we must find another rape and GPV victim. And you're like, your angle is completely fucked. And that's why We Are Jola 99 leaves a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths because we've spoken about Senkatele, which is your breakup show. And at some point it was like, are you going into this reality thing now where you almost want to expose and bastardize black suffering and black pain? And I remember you saying, look, Pen, number one, and this is Tyler Perry's argument. Number one, there are black stories that we have to tell. You don't have to like them. They might give views. We might get paid. Yeah. But these are real stories. And if we don't tell them, Ksasa Ungamla is going to tell them and they're going to make money. So we'll tell them. But Penzo, I'd like to tell you on Senkatel and other spaces, what we do try to do, is can we meet up with these people and be like, can we find a solution?
Yeah.
Or at the very least, guys, we couldn't do much here. And this is the hotline, man ninking. Mama mhlawumbe mayikushaya futhi sicela ukhulume nale phoyisa. You know, like uZola 7, what he used to do. Can we at least have a positive impact?
Yeah, and what's sad is that it's behind the scenes. And I'm trying to figure out, how do we bring that
You don't have to
In
show
the
the behind the
front.
scenes. You can just,
Yeah.
at the end of every show, your presenter can, because sometimes they do, guys, don't forget the hotline if you're a victim of what, but be like,
Yeah,
guys,
maybe
you
we
know,
must-
we actually counsel these people after the
Yeah.
show, just so you know.
You know, last week we shot something for this lady. After we needed to move her to another province. I can't obviously disclose it much.
Sure.
But obviously it's a thing and she was abused. Yeah. I guess something that we need to show. Maybe that'll give it more weight. Because ultimately what people, you know what works on TV, especially with Jolana and X-Repo, and that's what I'm toying with right now with the shows that I'm coming up with, is what makes those shows work is the fact that you know that X is going to come back with that truck or that car, no matter what.
Sure.
No matter, even if you bring police, you bring whatever. So there's a thing that this thing actually works. Uchup, you know for sure that is going to find this guy.
Sure.
And that's what makes Moja Love work. So they've made TV, they've made you believe in TV. If I call you to Mamazala, they're going to find this other family. And I'm going to tell them that you guys took my child away when your son passed away, and I want my child back. Or you guys took assets, or you took whatever from me.
Poor people, black people behave in front of a camera.
Yeah. No, you
There's
behave.
something hypnotizing about a
Cool.
camera.
I'm telling you, Fetch, we've shot episodes where we're all scared. There's this big guy is coming. We even had to have security for his encounter. He comes in, my man is humble. We didn't even need the security. So there is something that a camera does to you, man. Even the toughest guys.
I want to say something controversial.
Let's hear.
So, yes, this thing is not going to translate well.
No, people have to be smart. Say it.
So, a part of me gets excited, Mangi Zutkoni Poisa that was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Because Amapoisa need to be reminded that they're human. And Amapoisa need to be reminded that aswasabi. Because what happens is Amapoisa maning are corrupt. And Amapoisa maning bully citizens.
Yeah.
Because banomthetho on their side. So a part of me, because I always hope, of course, I always wish it's not a good cop.
Mm-hmm.
I always wish
I was about to say the flip side. What if it's a good cop?
Sure. That that's sad. I always hope it's a corrupt cop because I want them to also know, Wuti, you guys are not bulletproof. I'm a journalist, especially white journalists. BBC. They've got this arrogance.
How about Deborah Pater? Remember Deborah Pater and Julius?
They've got that was a classic episode. Deborah, third degree. Deborah Pater, Julius Malema.
When we were still in the ANC Youth League, drinking Heineken.
He won her in that episode.
I'm shy.
You could watch how she came there with an agenda and she was like, no man, Lumchita, it's not what I thought.
Nah, I'm shy, Baba. When he spoke truth.
A lot of these white journalists, especially when they travel to third world countries and where there's war and conflict, they come with this arrogance. Or as long as we have a camera, nothing will happen to us. No, we're part of the media. We're journalists. And some of these countries, they don't play that shit and they hold them hostage. And some of them end up decapitating them.
Sure.
And look, it's not nice. The guy was going to capture something and all, but Njobangisha, part of me is like, but you guys mustn't come with this arrogance that just because you're white, just because you're a diplomat, just because you think we're suffering. And some of you, worse, if you come and you document and then you go to the other side and then you spread propaganda.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck you guys. You guys come here and then you paint us in this picture. And guess nyanyis.
You know, you still have a love for black people, Mfana, hey? And I don't know why sometimes
I'll explain why I have a love for black people.
Yeah. Because sometimes you do have the elements that say, you don't like them. You say F black people, blah, 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 all those things. But whenever someone speaks to you, hey, you still love us, man. Hey, you've got a thing, Ton. Black people, Ton. Why do you still love black people?
I made a video this morning. I don't know when this is going to come out.
Yeah.
But I made a video this morning and one of the things I'm a fan of is challenging minds.
Okay.
Because minds have been zombified. And I want to challenge your mind just to change your perspective. Where isn't we bugala? I'm like, you see, you've never considered. We are inundated with Western media and propaganda.
Yeah.
So when America says there's a terrorist, it sticks in our head.
Yeah.
I was trying to shift the camera where I'm like, when Americans tell us there are people in South Africa funding terrorism, let's say it's Pakistani spaza shops, let's say it's Somalian spaza shops, what they are fundamentally saying is when you guys buy from these businesses, these people send this money to countries we don't like. And when that money gets to those countries, it's not funding some armies. No, it's funding normal people there. But those normal people know that they are under attack and under siege and they have agendas. And they take some of that money and then they fund their armies and those things.
Yeah.
Which Americans will tell you are terrorists. If you go to Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and some of these other countries they don't like, I don't know about Syria anymore, but I know America last year, Joe Biden bombed Somalia twice. If we have Somalia and Pakistan, if we have Somalian spaza shops and you buy from it, and that guy from Somalia sends Leo Nyugo home, 5,000 rand, 10,000, 50,000. When he gets to Somalia, his family is going to use that money to go and buy from businesses in Somalia. And those businesses, some of them have friends who are part of military groups who are fighting the American base there.
Yeah.
And who are saying, leave our country alone. Why are you here? They are not funding terrorism. But America will push this narrative. If you go to Somalia and you speak to Somalians will say, but you South Africans are funding terrorists. And you're like, wait, every time you eat from McDonald's, KFC, watch Netflix, whatever, that money goes to America. And you're like, but that's not funding terrorism, bro. You're like, when that money gets to America, the business people there make sure that that money gets to the military.
Yeah.
And the military comes and they bring a base here and then they start bombing us. So you guys, to us, are funding terrorism. And you're like, but that's not terrorism. You're like, why have you never questioned when America says we're terrorists? Yeah, well, so I was just trying to change that mindset, which is one of my fascinations. Just trying to get people to think deeper. America's a very big trade partner of ours. And that's why, because they kind of dominate us to an extent. Whereas Somalia is not a big trade partner. We're not really selling stuff to them. They don't buy our gold. So when we have to pick sides, you kind of pick the guy. You have to
choose the one that, yeah.
Which is kind of sad. But while you're picking your father, who pays your school fees, be careful when your father says that child there is dirty. Because your father might be destroying something. That's why even now the America-Russia thing, where America's forcing us to pick a side. And we're kind of like, hey, Russia's not a big trade partner for us. So it should be an easy thing. But Russia was an ally during apartheid, whereas America wasn't really. And America's been known for slavery and the oppression of black people. Russia's never enslaved black people and exploited them. We don't know of Russians coming to put companies here to come and take our gold. We don't know that. So you who have committed these atrocities coming to tell us, have the fucking audacity to tell us those people are bad.
But do you think it's the people do you think it's not Cyril, but like part of the NEC where they're like, no, but it's a difficult one to choose between Russia and America. But if Cyril was by himself, he would choose America.
If Cyril was by himself, he'd pick whatever his financial interests are, because that's what he always does.
Yeah.
At Eskom, he supplies coal through Shanduga and Glencore partnership. When we have load shedding, he supplies diesel through his partnership with Pembani and Shanduga and Engine. Now, when we go independent power producers, his brother-in-law, Patrice, is going to be supplying some of that. The funding that came, the $8.5 billion, he's going to get a stake. It's probably going to go into some of his investments. If Eskom gets privatized and sold, you best believe he's going to be a beneficiary. If it becomes a state-owned again fully, he's going to carry on supplying coal. And so
whoever...
Cyril's allegiance, and this is why he's always flip-flopping, because he makes money when Eskom functions, and he makes money when there's load shedding. That's why this guy doesn't have a standpoint. He can't have a standpoint. He might be making money in Russia, or some of his business associates might be making money in Russia. But then he might be making money with America. So then it's like, ish. So he'll make his decision based on that. And it's where he makes his money, not where South Africa makes its money, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out...
I must answer your question.
Which one?
The one about blacks.
Hey, blacks.
No, I can answer it.
You still love blacks, no? Is the guest coming?
No, I'm not. The guest hasn't said anything.
Okay. Kgomotso, thanks for joining us.
Let me make a word on...
Thanks for letting me know you're shooting.
Let me say a word on guests. Kgomotso, welcome back.
Welcome.
Like
we're like, where's... The track is not moving, And...
The camera also wasn't on.
Yeah,
Where's that black that moves the thing?
This guy,
It wasn't on. It wasn't recording.
Kgomotso, are you happy with my outfit today? Are you happy with my outfit?
Happy?
Yes.
It's It's your outfit.
Fuck
Kgomotso was told
Officially,
rubbish.
fuck Kgomotso and his fucking stylist tendencies.
Before we were shooting, they were on Kgomotso, man. They were like, Kgomotso, dude, you need to dress a certain way to attract a certain type of woman. Kgomotso was fighting it. Then at the end, he was like, you guys might be right.
Wait.
Because Kgomotso is 40. You know Kgomotso is 40?
Be real, yeah.
40 what?
Use the right word.
40 years.
I'm turning 40 this year.
Yeah.
No fucking ways.
Yeah, he's got like these young genes.
Sweet baby, bro.
Yeah. So Kgomotso is
Jeez,
turning
you're-
40, ne?
Jeez, that's dope, by the way.
Yeah.
Congrats.
On your family, man.
I thought Kgomotso was like 29.
Yeah. Kgomotso,
Not
your
in
young
terms
genes,
of
they come
appearance.
from time
Not in terms, let's not
age.
make the mistake. Not in terms of appearance.
I'm not sure.
In terms of...
Both of them.
I'm kidding.
Cool. So they were telling him that Kgomotso's argument, we're going to...
Kgomotso, you Grootman.
Hayi Grootman lethu.
Hey, Grootman el chain.
Q was-
That's nkade ma Grootman en bafethu ngathi
So this was
nama
happening with...
Grootman doji.
That's the thing. So Q must put a picture of Kgomotso somewhere here. So Kgomotso, they like
When
to...
you just make demands nje for edit.
No, I'm not in edit. I just...
But we are nje put a picture
Never.
here.
I'm
Supposed
just,
to cover something.
I'm just putting it here.
Can I say like Q, please put my name here.
He will probably do it, man. Q.
Hey, that would be so dope. Mangibeka futhi ithi Penuel. Boom. Last time. Boom.
No. And Q's
Hey,
gonna
Q's
do
not
it.
gonna do it.
No, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do
Hey,
it.
if he does, it's gonna be
So
so
Kgomotso's
dope.
argument is that, in fact, I'm a practical guy. Hoodie, shorts, bargain pants with lots of pockets, and
One
an
of the things I
all-star.
like about him.
You know?
He's like a soldier, ready for war.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's the issue, though. The women he attracts are not the women that are his age. And he's looking for a woman that is, let's say, 35, 35 older? Yeah. 35 older. The issue is that, uthola di 25, 28, and they're like, dude, it's because of how you're dressing. Like, you need to stop it. He's in denial. So he needs to stop.
Because he dresses like Pharrell.
I don't know how Pharrell...
No, Pharrell is always dressed like a skater boy, and I didn't know he was so
Pharrell.
fucking old. So let me show you how old Pharrell is.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, Pharrell is 1 year apart from Busta Rhymes and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I groot, jong. I groot, yo. I can go
Fucking
to
old.
the...
You know when you watch his music videos back in the day, there were young models there.
Yeah.
Now when I do the maths, I'm like, this is an old nigga with young kids.
Damn. But those young kids look nice. Oh.
Okay, huh? Kels.
Tell me, can I ask you? The requirement of dress codes, is it a black thing, or do you think it's across racial lines?
No, you're asking a rhetorical question. This is why now we have to question if you're turning 40.
Yeah, you see now.
These
Kgomotso,
questions-
you see, wabona kuthola ntsotso tsa dibutswa tse stupid.
These are the questions now that make us think, 40, going on 18.
No, Kgomotso, you just need to dress differently and get the woman that's your age, bro. That's it.
Tell me about the race thing, though.
No, I don't know about the race thing.
It's not. It's across races.
You think so?
It's a branding thing. It's a broader branding conversation. You brand yourself according to how you want to be treated.
How you-
speak, you look, you sound,
How you branding yourself view from a look point of view in relation to whatever you want to attract, from whether it's women, it's money,
You're asking me?
it's whatever. Yeah.
Oof, I've got a smart answer for you. I've got a lot of smart answers, and I always wait for people to ask me these questions.
What other question do you want me to ask you?
Only
That's
they knew I've been training for this question.
so. What are you attracting according to you, or what is it that you wanted to attract, and what are the results?
I'm going to do this thing that annoyed MacG when I went to Podcast and Chill.
Correct.
I'm going to go back to your initial question and answer it in full, and then follow up.
I mean, anginandaba pen. Well,
The fundamental thing, you know, Tebogo,
that
when you look at I had a deep love for black people at some point in my life, and I realized black people have been dealt a raw deal historically, and I felt I have a unique opportunity to try and make a difference.
okay.
And I started on a journey, and I made the mistake in the journey of focusing on all black people. Number one, all black people. Number two, at the exclusion of other races. So the core of how I felt has not changed.
Okay.
There are a lot of black people that have been dealt a raw deal. There are a lot of white people and other races that have privileges. I'm fully cognizant of that. But in that journey, I realized a lot of black people don't deserve a fight from someone who cares. They don't
Okay.
deserve it. So some of them probably deserve to suffer. Some of them deserve whatever situation they're in, etc. And then there are some that really need a leg up, that need help, that need, we must fight for them where we can. This guy deserves, a shot. In the same breath, there are a lot of white people, Indian coloreds, who missed the train. When privilege came through, choo-choo.
I feel for them. I'm fine.
So a lot of black people laugh at those people. They're like, where were you during apartheid when your ancestors were? Why don't you have farmland? And you realize some of them, they missed the train because they were not in the right circles.
Yeah.
Like tenders now. They were not in the right circles. They were not at the right place. They were maybe not necessarily the right white. When the British colonizers were dominating, you had to be English. Cecil John Rhodes was like being born a white Englishman is like winning the lottery, and it was a fact at that time. It's like Africans today say if you've got an ID, SAID, you've won the lottery. RTP, free education, free, you're like, yes, that's why they buy them. You could buy an SAID. I think they're cheap. They might be 3,000. You could almost buy it for 50,000 and you'll still make returns.
Damn.
Because your children are going to be getting close to 500 Rand every month. You're going to get a free house worth 200,000. You're going to have access to NSFAS. You're going to get free healthcare. So getting an SAID is literally like winning some kind of a lottery. At some point, being a white Afrikaner was a thing. So during apartheid, if you're a white Englishman, I'm a poon with the Anglo-Boer War. If you're Portuguese, Greek, it was like... So a lot of these white people missed. Some coloreds missed, some Indians. Even now, there are wealthy Indians in Durban. Then there are poor Indians. Mahambe eThekwini ungahlangana neIndia eliphepulu uyiche umntomnyama emfethu ngakusiza. And wese uzokuphendula ngesiZulu. Oh yebo mfethu besacelwe hey, are you black? So I feel for those people because now that the tides have turned, you've got an elite white group that oppressed and exploited from blacks. And then you've given it, they are working in tandem with an elite black group, which is the ANC. Generally. And now you've got a mass of black people that are suffering, and then some white people who missed the train. And these some white people are always, but this is reverse racism, and you guys have BEE. And they bitter because they missed the train. Some of them, again, like blacks, don't deserve. Because if you're racist and you're not willing to work, and you're not willing to humble yourself that you're in a black African country, you deserve to suffer. But if you're willing to work and humble yourself and be like, look, the atrocities of history, but I'm also trying to do something. I'm willing to listen. So my core, which is the bulk, it's not the bulk, a big chunk of black people, is still people that were oppressed, exploited, lost their land, hardworking, willing to do something. And my love for those people will never end. And tomorrow, I'll swear at anyone, you can bring some of my white friends and I'll tell them to go and fuck off if they're going to go and attack some of those people, because I'll be like, this is wrong, bro. But if it's other, especially these new elite blacks who are shitting on blacks, and it's some of these useless blacks where when you tell them, these are some of the things that make me say F blacks, as an example. Pen, hey, we're poor, we're hungry, please give me money, please. And I feel, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, look, to change the situation in your home, I won't be able to do much because I don't have much, but start with these things. Start growing your own food. I don't have land, I understand, but there's a little bit of land where you are. Get a bucket, get a 5 liter ice cream, get it tire, and start plant. Okay, so you're resistant to a solution. Where are you buying from? No, I buy from these supposed white monopoly capital places, businesses. I'm like, okay, look, if you're not buying from them, you buy from Pakistani, Somali. I'm like, look, buy from a black South African spaza shop. But it's service. I'm like, that's the struggle. Because you want me to fight, right, for you? You also need to fight. And it may not be with a gun. It might be with a rand. I'm saying do the hard work of going to buy from a black South African. And then company. Stop working for the company you're working for and go work for a black South African owned. And mind you, when I speak black South African, I'm speaking not all black South African, because I've said some I'm speaking the one that share the values of, if you buy from me, I will reinvest in your community. If you work for me, I might not pay you much, but with our profits, I'm not going to go live in Bryanston and send my kids to a private school. I'm going to invest in us. Ngizohlala ekasi, ngizoyenza sure ukuthi intwana zebhola zine ground eligrand, ngizoyenza sure ukuthi isonto maliwa.
Don't you think that third solution is hard though, Pen?
This is what we call a fight. Because fights are not the same, right?
Okay.
There's biological warfare.
Yeah.
There's things like people poisoning water. There's poisoning our women so that our women hate us.
Yeah, they
Ooh, I hate
us,
black South African
and they're
men.
beautiful. Oh, but they hate
You know,
us.
now they're sleeping with other men, and you don't realize it's a war. So this is one of them. Say, I won't carry a gun. I won't. But the things I have is I have a little bit of money, and I have some labor. And I'm saying, take your money and your labor,
Put it
and go and
concentrate
fight.
it in a,
Go and water the peach tree. And I'm like, if you refuse to do that, you deserve to suffer. Uzovotela ANC 2024. Usasupport uRamaphosa. Usafuna ukusupporta labantu. Uzofika ubiza uPenuel sell out ngoba unikeze AfriForum iClipper. But then if I look at where you spend all your money, there's a chance that you are giving AfriForum 2 stina a month. Whereas mina where I spend my money, ungathola ukuthi inyuko yami is going somewhere else, baba. But then uzongijudge. And when I try to educate you, ingqondo yakho ingqondo yesimende, iblocks. That's where I'm like, fusek. And when a lot of them come and attack me, I say, you guys don't deserve Bigo, Sobugwe, Gavi, Chapez, Malcolm X. You don't deserve them. Those people died in vain because you're shit. You deserve to be exploited. That's when I get angry. Pen is a sellout. Uzonda abantu abamnyama. Mina abantu abamnyama ngiyabathanda mfethu. Kakhulu. But ngithanda abantu abazithandayo. Mawungayithandi. Another controversial thing is black people were not oppressed properly in this country, because when you're oppressed properly, you need to get to a point where you say
enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Yeah.
And when you're not willing to, because the Muslims go halal, the Jews go kosher, the white Afrikaners go white Afrikaans. That's why Highschool is the highest selling magazine in the country, where Amapunu had 3 million. That's why Afrikaans fiction is the highest selling. That's why Afrikaans cinema has the highest grossing movies in the country. Small group of people, because they understand patriotism. And if you don't know suffering and you're still willing to sell out with your rent and your labor and you don't deserve anything, it means more. We need to. Zimbabwe is still fine. In Zimbabwe, the black people, they can still grow their own food. Some South African are at the back of the net. George Floyd.
And then,
so that when you leave them, when they breathe, they must be like, I'm only going to take a black South African breath. Otherwise, it's nothing. But then but for me personally, that's for pro-black.
Yeah.
For me personally, I just realized the fight is actually good people against bad people.
Yeah.
And that's across races. So there are a lot of good black people, and I fight for them. There are a lot of good white people. The majority of white people, I believe, in South Africa are racist. And they believe they are superior to black people, and they don't understand their privilege, and they're in denial, and they're not willing to work with black people. They'll only work with a black person if the black person will be beneath them. They will never follow a black leader. They will vote DA even if the DA is a piece of shit. I've got no time for those white people. I want the white people who are like, Pen, I'm willing to follow you. Pen, if your mom cooks better stew, I'll eat your mom's stew.
Yeah.
Pen, if Siya Kolisi is the best captain, I'm willing to let him lead me. But if as Ungamla, you're not willing to have merit, you deserve an ANC that's destroying the country. You deserve potholes. You deserve the apartheid legacy of a strong Eskom, Sasol, Arms Corps. You deserve to have it destroyed because you're part of the problem. You're not willing to work with good black people to build a better country. So Herman Mashaba and Abo Musi are claiming that they stand for that. They claim they're the good blacks willing to work
they've
with
got
good
this
whites.
middle class tendencies that I don't understand.
They're not willing to. They're not willing to serve. This is why we're not sold. You need to be a servant.
Yeah, they don't.
You need to be a servant. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to be in the trenches. And if you're not in the trenches, and you're speaking from the suburbia, and you're still like, yeah, but me and my white wife, we're like, okay, it's a no from us.
But you see, it goes back to what you were saying though. If why not vote for them? We're not voting. I'm not definitely gonna vote.
We're not sold. They're not serving. You
but
need to serve,
based
Baba.
on their language, man. I switch off same time, man.
I believe I could capture you with a twang if I serve.
But it's because I know you though.
No, it's that. But also, so Kgomotso was speaking about branding and clothing. When you're a politician or a leader, your branding has to be in how you look as a servant. You have to ask yourself, with all the American indoctrination, why do South Africans like Putin? Why do South Africans look at Kim and
Yeah.
China and say, no, mina ngathi upolo ngiyamthanda mina upolo. Ufana I'm shy. And you're like, the propaganda is so strong, but something inside you, it means there's something in your branding that is not considering some of the hurt and the pain. I wrote a tweet last week which said, I apologize to all the good black people who are upset that I contribute to AfriForum, who are upset when they see me with certain white people. Please understand that, I still care about you and I'm not a sellout and I'm trying to do good work and I'm trying to build the nation. So I think that post got like 400 likes, which makes me happy. But there were a lot of people that were just like, you don't have to apologize. And I understand propaganda. I have to apologize. Some of these good black people are not sure. And they just want to hear that. It's like when you speak to white people and you're like, guys, say sorry. But Pen, I wasn't there. Shut up. Just shut up. Like, I speak to my sister Penrose. We've tried to explain to her that my mom and her have certain friction. And she's young. I'm a bit older. I've gotten to learn that my mom speaks French. And if you want my mom, it's chulu. Melu, hey, bonjour, mon amour. And she's like, hey, and she's like, Fanami. So my sister comes with English. Mom, I want stew. And my mom gets angry. Bonjour. My sister's like, no, I want stew. Hello, how are you? And I'm trying to school her to say, Olid Lako comes from another time. Yeah. Change your language. If you want her to behave in a certain way. And she's fighting. And I'm like, it's because you're young, but you must learn. So
I also change.
What I'm trying to say to these white people is, you don't even need to be sincere. Because maybe you're not. Maybe you're not apologetic. Maybe you appreciate the privilege. Because in the world, stoicism, you have to dominate and oppress and whatever. But if you are trying to get black people to vote DA, Freedom Front, if you want black people to work with you, you have to humble yourself and speak their language. Because if you refuse, no, Pen, we can't. I'm like, when they come and murder you and bomb you tomorrow, don't expect any sympathy from me. Because you weren't willing to do the basic, which is just say sorry. Pen, fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. I'm like, Dwana, just say sorry, bro. Yeah, but look, the reason I cheated was because I'm like, hey, fuck why you cheated. I might understand, but just say to your woman, I'm really sorry for what I did. She may not forgive you, she may not think, but say sorry. Trust me, it goes a long way. Just say sorry. Just say, I'm sorry. But you weren't there during apartheid, I know. But when I look at the atrocities of what my race did, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think that's important. There was a question you had for me where I said I had a smart answer.
Yeah, your answer of how you dress and how you think people perceive you and how you want to be perceived. And what are the results?
I forgot what was
you forgot your smart answer.
Forgot my smart answer. The problem is I've got so many smart answers, Baba. I can just don't say any.
So your dress code, what type of people are you attracting? I see you remembered now.
I part remembered because I wanted to speak about relationships.
Come on,
clever.
Come on, Penzo. Come on, man.
What's in Thanos? What's Thanos to Tony Stark? Like you, Stark. I'm cursed with knowledge. Oh. Thank you so much, Kgomotso. Like you, I know branding.
No, see, keep.
I say sponsor.
Ascon. Says.
to anyone who's listening, guys, we're really poor at the Penuel Show, and we'd appreciate any donation, no matter how much. It'll go a long way to feeding the children of the crew members that struggle so hard every day to come here and ply their trade and give of their time and their skills to this very important work that we do on the Penuel Show.
The crew members are the children.
Hey, Caesar, you just spoiled my thing, man. You just spoiled it.
Mara Pen, when I just bulala Pen though.
Oh, I wanted to say before I answered you, I need a PA.
That can get us money.
You owe me episodes. I don't know if you still have them, where I sat with my brother and Yannick Wombo and we spoke about sports. This was 2-3 years ago.
Yes.
Sure.
I have them.
You,
I will get them.
you and I sat and spoke about the riots in 2021. Such dope content. Kgomotso was there.
Everyone was there. Caesar, walk on. Am I right? Shooting that yellow office.
Were you there?
Yeah, I know.
Were you there? I didn't know Caesar then, but I know there was someone else. Shit, thank you, Caesar.
You always go back to that, eh?
There's classics, bro, in life. And a lot of them are before the commercialization. When we were still underground, boy, keeping it real. Know what I mean? When we were still
You know what's crazy about that? My dream with that was I wanted to create a channel.
I hated shooting with you then.
What?
Because you kept looking at the camera and you kept, geez, the
wanna
lighting.
make
I'm like,
sure-
just fucking focus on the conversation.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Look,
It's an industry thing.
my first love, man. Come on.
It's an industry
What can
thing.
I
You
do?
always want to make sure things are fine.
Even Kgomotso now is moving a lot for me. I almost
wanna
want
tell him to stop?
Yeah, you don't do that when there's a guest, and he knows that, but he refuses to listen. Like, you don't do that. But I guess because it's us, he's like, "Bahlanya, ba."
And you did look at the camera quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, this nigga, why are you moving?
Me, actually.
This punk
But
ass.
even before I moved a lot.
Gee whiz, man.
If the audience is happy,
Your control.
then it means the student has become the master, and you will need to shut up. If people are like, yo, that was actually dope, Kgomotso will be like, you're welcome. And yeah, your apologies accepted.
But what are you saying? What are you saying?
The classic, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. And I want to say thank you for pushing for us to have this platform. We're probably still going to fight. I think any real
part of
family and any people that genuinely care about each other do fight because we're humans and not robots. We're going to have fights probably over money, sponsors, the direction we're going. I'm going to get pissed off because I want Joe Rogan, and when you have your industry experience, I didn't even want all of this. I don't want all of this. This is all Utebza. But look, you guys love it. So again, I had to apologize. Thank you. I just wanted to have conversations, man. But thanks, bro. And thank you to Kgomotso, who was there. Nosizwe, now that I know, was there. Thank you to Q. Thank you to Yenzi. I didn't even know Yenzi was doing editing. Anyone else who's been involved. Look, obviously, thanks to the guests. But the crew, bro. Every now and then we need to say thank you because so I've had a few people that I meet that shake by they vibrate. I've probably had like 2 people that their eyes water, you know, and we forget the impact that we may have. And something as silly as bringing on Rutendo, Gerald, Zimbabweans. We won't realize what that does for Zimbabweans and what that does for African unity. Because in our heads, we're like, I'm just chatting to an O, and it's like, bro, thanks for bringing Rutendo on. Like, fuck, you brought a Zim brother. You know, I know someone was saying, we're tired of the Zimbabweans, bring a Nigerian brother. We're also smart.
Sure.
And you're like, sure.
Yeah.
And some of the white people, bro, because, you know, I bump into Indians, coloreds, white people. Hey, I watch you. Keep it up. And you're like, hey, thanks. I saw your chat. You're very smart. And you're like, hey, Mlungu. Sure.
You're not like them.
Why are you so smart? Did you go to exile? Who's your father? No, ma'am. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You know, but I went to. Should you mention brands? Is it fine? What's your thought process?
I'm not
on
an
that?
industry person. I don't mind brands.
I went into
As time goes on, it's gonna be annoying. It's one of the things I've never liked.
so
Good man, I
Masambo,
can't. Hey, mina I Tropic.
I'm not gonna.
Nah, we can't have Tropic because it's free mileage.
Why can't you-
On the thing, we don't have mileage.
I went
No,
to.
if we're once we get a manager PA, they're gonna have to find brand alignment where they're like, our guys love your brand. They want to drink Tropica Macheu on screen. Please, can we do something? It doesn't have to be a lot. Maybe you guys can just sponsor us with free drink.
You know,
This will expire.
last I was going to. I'll mention the brand. We just
No,
talk-
please mention. Please
Oh,
mention.
I went to.
We're still young.
It's fine.
We're still young.
That was the best day, man. The worst, best and good. Is it worst and best? bestest.
You were not an exile baby.
No, I wasn't.
I didn't see you in England
I was
with
in
Togo.
Tembisa.
You were here in the trenches with Winnie. I see you.
I go to every host. No?
Sure.
They were not providing us with good internet at that time, but now we're back on. It's fine. So, the reception lady.
Yes, yes, your internet is super fast here. Let me actually jump on your Wi-Fi.
You are in heaven here, Ntwana, don't worry. So, the lady is listening to, obviously, the Penuel Show.
Come on, boy.
And
What's
I'm
that?
like, what?
That's what's up.
So
That's
I
what's up.
create a crane, no problem.
Disturb him.
Yeah, disturb. I know the story.
I'm walking past someone and he's like, hey, and I'm like, you watching me? He's like, hey. I'm like, no, that's dope.
It's dope and fun. Mang figure so
why am I Wi-Fi or Tula?
You can choose one.
Oh,
Two left to give you the password.
I've got a password word for one of them, but it wasn't meant to
they
connect
changed
automatic.
it. Some guy came here and he changed the internet. No, some guy
actually,
came
I don't
here.
need it. I've got gang data. Don't worry.
Are you sure? So man figure I go to the person that's helping me, Then this other teller doesn't have anyone helping, they're just chilling by themselves. What are they listening to? The Penuel Show.
Come on, boy.
I'm like,
what?
Hey, lentole.
But it was an free host. They probably have free Wi-Fi.
This thing is working.
When yes, sir. So again, with the impact.
Yeah.
Mawuvula SABC, you have to wait. Who's like Peli stories porayo. Mawungena DSTV, would manje people have catch up and things. Yeah. You have to go out of your way to use your data that you pay for, which is expensive, to go and find the Penuel Show and watch an episode. You are intentionally choosing to watch us. When you've got SABC radio, you can chill in a chiriako, you can plumb in a machid, and you're intentionally saying, I want to be here.
Yeah, nothing.
That is incredibly humbling. You could be watching anything, but you're watching Penzo.
I mean, I like the idea that, you can see something grow. I like starting something and seeing how far you can go with it. If it was up to me, I was about to say, if it was up to me, I would probably do, there's only one show that I'll probably do on TV. Probably one. We've done it. I'll do season 2 of it. And don't do any TV and just do YouTube content.
The problem is money.
Yeah.
The reason you want to do YouTube is limitations.
Yeah, man.
TV's got too much red tape, man.
Yeah, the thing about it's money, and I feel a responsibility to the people that work for the business.
Because they have to get paid.
Yeah,
which is a money thing.
People can't be
struggling
when we have ideas to sell.
But this is how it works, right? For people that don't know, you try and find a cash cow so that you can fund what they call a passion project.
Yeah.
Which is this, I'm willing to make no money here, but I think this is important.
It's very important.
Yeah. So a lot of wealthy people do that. Sir Donald Gordon, who donated to the Wits Medical School.
Okay.
So it's the Donald Medical School, I think. He's got a boarding establishment at KES, King Edward School, where he went, I think, called Donald House. I know he's funded some of the arts in the UK. He was knighted, Sir Donald Gordon. That's money from Liberty Insurance. So you have a cash cow.
Liberty owns Sandton, is it those people?
Liberty owns Sandton City, yes. But look, the insurance companies are all mutual. Most of the malls, their money sits there, pension money.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, you find a cash cow to fund the passion. Johan Rupert, for example, funds rugby teams. I think it was the Saracens in Europe, Western Province, even when it's running at a loss. Because it's just like, I just love this so that much. So,
I love water, man.
Sorry. So you need to stay on TV.
Yeah,
I wish I could chat like this to guests, but then you feel like if I go on my phone, they're gonna think I'm rude. I'm gonna throw them off. If I look there, they're gonna be like, "Pen, are you?" So now you have. I mean, I hate concentrating.
You have to, because as well when they're working here, they're intimidated. That's another flaw.
Yeah, this space is intimidating.
You know what I'm trying to figure out? Is the room intimidating or is the space intimidating?
What's the difference?
No, like when you walk in.
What's the difference between the room and the space?
No, when I mean space, I mean like outside, when you get out of this door.
Outside, it feels like a home. This room in particular feels like an interrogation room. And then there's cameras. It's like you're about to put on a lie detector test and whatever. And the table. Yeah. And the other thing is, so I'll give you a visual picture, a mental picture.
Yeah.
If you come here and there's couches, and it's a yellow background, and Koni Puzo, and there's Now I'm on game. Hey, this is. Hey, now you're like, hey. And then there's cameras, and you're like, I'm used to my podcast. I'm a camera man, and I'm stands a week. And Lana was showing bazooka cameras.
Should we change that?
Hollywood.
Because it is a thing, though.
No, don't change it. We're fine for now. The other thing is, these are the things we're going to fight about. The feel and the experimentation, which I know you wanted us to experiment here. I don't want us to experiment here. I'm happy for us to experiment on Penuel the Black Pen. With a couch, with a different model, with a water outlet, and it there. And then look at it and be like, oh, this is nice. Maybe we can.
Oh.
You know, I don't want here.
So this is enough for you. It's too much already for you.
This is already too much. But again, Joe Rogan for me. I have to give a shout out. Jabo Maktiwa shout out. So people are going to give a shout out to MacG, DJ Spoo, Hustler's Corner. And my brain is not even there. I'm at Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan is fly on the wall, which I think the Penuel Show does that probably the best. We actually might be the best in the country. Maybe even the continent.
Said that. I had never thought you'd ever say that.
What?
We're the best.
When it comes to fly on the wall, where you and I are having a conversation and the audience feels like, I think I just stumbled upon a conversation. A lot of the other shows, it's, hi guys, and warm welcome to the Penuel Show. I'd like to welcome my guest today, Tebogo Keebine. Tebogo, welcome, man. Please say hi to the guests. You know, some people might have a conversation, but it's like, yo, hey, this guy has got money, mos. But there's always a consciousness of, whereas we try our best, and at some point in the conversation, at least for me, I can sometimes see it in the eye. But I mean, I'm a cult leader. So I know when I'm starting to colonize the mind. For you to appreciate me.
Yes, Pen.
Who needs enemies? Who needs fucking Judas? So I can see it in their eyes when at some point while they're speaking, the cameras disappear. Yeah. And it's me. And you can pick that up on camera where the person is here. And I think even the person watching is like, ooh. Because I've got this thing on, you know, on Penuel the Black Pen, I speak to camera.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? It's Penuel the Black Pen. And when I meet people are like, hey, bro, I feel like I know you. Because every day it's like you're talking to me. And it's like you're talking to me. So the fact that, hey, you also know Pen. Oh, okay. So I think we're the best at that. So what Joe Rogan has done fly on the wall, where Joe Rogan's having a conversation with someone and there happen to be cameras.
There happen to be cameras.
Not that there are cameras, let's chat to cameras.
Yeah.
It's, we are chatting, there happen to be cameras. Our catch line is dope conversations with interesting people.
Dope conversations with
interesting people.
Is that our tagline? Whose tagline?
It's my tagline. You're just crew, shut up.
I think we might steal that tagline.
Fuck that. Dope. I've already said, Q, this episode must go up very quick, Baba, before blacks come and steal. This is why I don't like blacks.
Dope conversation with dope people?
No, nothing. Amacheu e moringa. That's going to be your tagline.
Dude, what was in that thing that those people said? What are they called?
When are your English bundles? Now JP Boys has all the English. JP Boys.
I mean, my English
is correspondence and
I mean, I'm
English. Now we're in exile in Cuba.
But 12% delay, Marguma.
I don't understand these minority languages. Utini.
They want to leave it under it. Road mic, but what did they send?
Shaka Zulu fucked up. Yeah. We're meant to colonize the fuck out of the entire
They gave that guy a mirror and he changed.
And you remember at some point I was king of the Ngunis.
And your people failed.
Before I became God, I was Penuel Mlochwa, king of the 27,
and
28 million
people failed
Nguni people. And people would see me and be like, oh, King Pen.
And then what happened?
And some of the politicians in this country were like, you're king. I'm like, yes. Oh. King of what? Of the Ngunis. Where's your palace? I'm like, don't worry about that.
My palace is
and
on my phone.
It started off as a joke. You're king of the Ngunis. I'm like, I'm king of all Ngunis. All the Xhosa and there they feed up. Anyway, sorry. You were saying, what were those people?
What did they send? Those road people.
I forgot the box. You're only reminding me now.
You said you were going to open it.
Shout out to Jason. I wanted to open it with you, like have a little gay moment where we maybe even record it like, wow.
Donnie, let's fetch it, man.
Wow. hey guys, thank you so much for the...
You don't open it.
But anyways, we can't speak about them now because we don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. No, hopefully they do give us something, Yana, that is.
It took me a while to understand my privileges. So a lot of white people are in denial about their privilege. A lot of black people are in denial about their privilege. I explain it in small things like Zulu people will attack white people for their inability to pronounce Zulu names. But those same Zulu people will struggle to pronounce names from Limpopo.
Yeah.
Mubango.
Hey,
And it's the exact same thing.
Sure.
The exact same thing, you know. Batiwani. It's the exact same thing. It's you have this superiority complex and you're not willing to humble yourself. And people attack Zulus. Why do we always have to speak your language? It's the same superiority complex that white people have. So I was in denial of some of my privileges, and I used to charge girls that sleep with men for money. I used to charge girls that are gold diggers.
You used to charge?
I used to charge them.
Oh, you don't charge them
I used
anymore?
to look down on them. I understand now.
Oh, yeah.
I used to look down on them. I was like, you, like, girl, go make your own money.
Mavoso.
No, I need to find a man to give me money. Well, that man is called a job. Go get a fucking job. You know, I used to charge a machita that I told him I'm a verpa. Their cars, their clothing. I say, well, I'm Gucci. Yazi wash lam malini baba. I say, yazi mphethe indlu yakho la. Yabo iflat yakho iyo yonke la. Mina lo baba.
Yeah.
You know, I used to charge those guys that use money to get women. And at some point it clicked that there's a long detailed thing about this.
Yeah.
We are given different talents and different advantages, privileges, wins. And some of us, when we get to school, because school is meant to be the gateway for all of us to life. Some of us have a photographic memory and school becomes easy. Sit in class, the teacher speaks, it sticks in the head, come exam, we have an ability to take what's in the head, put it on paper.
That's what you have.
100%, that's what I have. And that's what I've had. It's not mine.
Yeah.
I can never claim it because it's not something that I worked on. You know, I was born with this. So shout out to my ancestors and whatever. Different from rugby. Rugby, I was scared.
Okay.
When I started playing rugby at under 10, I think I was scared. When they like tackle, I was scared. So with rugby, I had to work psychologically into being able to smash guys in half.
Yeah.
Be an amazing player. So when you compare how brilliant I was academically, I never took that for granted. I was like, sure. When it came to rugby, I was proud of it. Any little achievement, I was like, this is me. And they're like, come on, Faith. And you're like, no, but this is me. You know, so a lot of kids don't do well at school. And come Matric, going to tertiary, the kids who did well, some of them put in the work. So it's not all of them that it was just natural. Some put in the work. So they go study medicine, engineering, law, actuary, whatever. And then they go and they get jobs and they're earning 50, 100, 150, 200,000 a month. And then they get to live in certain neighborhoods and they get to date certain people and their kids go to live in certain spaces. The kids that they left behind academically, some of them have different talents and opportunities and skills. Some of them are athletes. So buchaza skele, but when you got to star or in rugby. Yeah. So Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, yes, is Oksana. So from 17, baba, when Anji Usuda, you know, so all 20 blocks, 30, 50 blocks, whatever. And maybe you do well and you play for Bafana and all of a sudden you're making maybe 100.
Changes, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can now move into the same neighborhood. Or you're a Springbok, Sia Collis, you're now moving into the same neighborhood. We don't know how Sia did at school, but we don't know if he'd be making the money he's making if he went the academic route.
Yeah.
You know. So there's the academics, there's the sports. There's the kids that have other skills. Hey, lo waitula blind ekwayeni. Hey, useshayi deep house, uyi vocalist. Hey, lona useya DJ, lona whatever. Some of the kids, sadly, some of the dumber kids end up in politics. You know, because politics doesn't attract the greatest minds.
Why you say sadly, Jam?
It's sad because politics is meant to attract the greatest minds.
Okay, I get
You're
you.
meant to look at government and say, the smartest people in the country are there. You're meant to be like, I'm going to get 100% and 8 A's and get a PhD so that I can get into government.
Do you
But
know?
for us, government is where the slow, stupid kids ababechaza.
He hasn't done a more ring as all. I really struggle with the conversation of school. Dude, I don't know how I passed number one. Like, I remember prelims, I failed everything. Like, everything. The only thing I passed...
Is this a real story? Because a lot of people bullshit.
Oh, no, it's a real story.
I failed everything.
Gary
V.
No.
To Gary V, I failed everything. We don't know.
No, there was only 2 things that I passed on. They introduced this subject called criminology in school when I was in grade 9. So, mid and high. In high school. So...
Alex,
criminology,
as a subject?
As a subject, yeah. Nerishap after school. And then business. Those are the only 2 I passed in.
What was criminology? The study of?
Yeah, the study of crime stats, why someone commits crime, why people fall victims. As a subject, yeah.
You don't think now, looking back, that was weird?
And I don't know why I took it, because it was after school. That was another thing.
On a Wednesday. School, we had computer science.
I had criminology after school. So
never heard of criminology.
Why is this guy laughing? So I had 2.
Jeez.
So
why did they teach you about law enforcement that deep?
I don't know, but you had to...
Because it's like it's a section of law enforcement. It's not even law. It's a specified discipline.
So those are the 2 things I passed, And then maybe they took the dumb ones, because when I think about it... No, I think they actually took the ones that were not smart. Because I was in grade... D, 8D, 9D, like D was for the...
boy, come try woodwork, boy.
Yeah, I was those ones,
come do agriculture, boy.
So I remember Miss Van Sale.
I'll pass you farming. Woodwork. Distinction.
Miss Van Sale calls all the people who failed, The people that, she was the principal, calls all the
Calls them how?
No, she calls them into the office. Dear guys, you guys are going to kill our pass rate here in the school. So all of you are going to be forced to go to a library. First time I stepped into a library was in Matric. Prelims, I failed. I'm like, Then I'm like, I feel you fail.
Shout out to Fansel. I was actually about to bash her. I thought she called you guys in front of the hall and said, Ubanbani failed. I was going to be like, that's wrong.
No. They only did that for us.
But nakona kwaka Melan Biz as a group.
Yeah, no. No, she did group then individual with parents. Group then individual with parents
but
after.
Non-banning?
10, if I remember.
No,
9,
she
10,
could have done individual.
Yeah,
it's just
first,
something, if you're a teacher or a principal,
the whole thing they did it
try
once.
And individualize this
the
thing.
whole thing they did it once. When I went into grade 8, I didn't know they don't play summertime in school. Like, I came from a township school. We play summertime. It's the 1st of September. We have to play. Like, what's going on?
In summertime, man.
No, break it down.
Spring day. Spring, 1st of September, spring day. Yeah.
Is this what you guys did in the Kasi?
Yeah. So 1st of September,
you take an annual bath.
It was a thing.
Annual bath.
And I was shocked. I'm like, wait, man, people are not doing this thing,
No water in Africa.
No, but
the annual bath on spring day.
This is grade 8 in Dwana.
We
used to do that in the township school. It's a norm everywhere. The whole of the township was just wet.
I've seen those videos.
So it was a norm. Figure out people are not doing it.
Kids have gotten hurt from water balloons.
Yeah, I'm like, man, so we did it. Second break, I'm like, guys, come on. That was pipe lay, that hose, whatever.
Fire hose. That thing calls the fire engine.
I'm on the 3rd level. It's after school. Start a more packet, I'll pick it up. We pour a lot of water. Now, come from Tembisa. We pour a lot of water. Tembisa.
You do come from a Tembisa.
Yeah, because Tembisa.
They should have picked you up as a red flag back then. They put you on a certain stream.
The
criminology was late.
So after school, start a packet, we pick it up, every entrance or with the school, the exit, we put everyone in there. Then that's when they did this thing of calling all the kids in front of the hall, to say these are the delinquents of the school. Don't be like them. They're not good kids. Someone is judging me. Oh my gosh. But anyway, where my story was going, I have a very difficult conversation when it comes to school, because I think even when people speak about pass rate, I don't know what to say. Because my mark, I was aiming for the pass rate at that time, the minimum was 29.9, and that was my aim. I didn't care about anything else. I did not know it was 33.3. No, I'm lying.
I was going to say, within our time, I think it was...
I'm lying. It was 30,
it was either 35 or 40 something.
Yeah, I was aiming for 33.3. It's either 33.3 or 33.9. That was my aim. I did not care about anything else. I was like, I just need to leave.
Sure.
I just need to leave. Miss Mia realized, oh, okay, cool, this one. Because I was doing a lot of acting, plays at school, writing. So we used to go perform at St. Stadiums, at Vets, whenever there were plays, you know. And I left and I went to varsity, you know, and I did what I actually love. So whenever there's the conversation of the dumb kids and pass rate, I don't know how I feel. Because I'm glad the pass rate was low because it worked for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means for a greater good of society.
Yeah.
That's why I've got this conflict. Because I really just wanted the 3.3. That's what I wanted.
So I can get out and carry on with my life.
I wanted to leave. So it is a problem for the greater good of society, though.
No, it's not. You know, one of my videos trended on TikTok.
Yeah.
I think it's got over 400,000 views. Where I was responding to Musi Maimani saying we must increase the pass rate. And it's not just him. Many others have said the same. And it's so ignorant. So I don't know what it is about my brain. When I listen to rappers and they say things like I failed school and my teacher said I was going to be a loser and I wasn't going to amount to shit and I was going to end up in jail, I identify with that even though I was a fucking A student.
Yeah, you're shocking me.
You know, and I hate school as if I failed. But I hate school because I realize that school is not doing what it's supposed to do, which is to develop people for the good of the nation. And academic success cannot be the only measure. When you look at the real world, there are so many different people doing so many different things. We know that R. Kelly cannot read and write, according to him. No one knows what Beyonce got, if she even went to school. Lil Wayne has said he dropped out of school early because of his hip-hop career.
Richard Branson's got a what reading thing. What does he have, Richard Branson?
It's dyslexia.
Oh.
So, and look, these are celebrities that are very rich. They are people levels low who maybe earn 20,000 a month, who didn't do well at school, but they're making 20,000 a month. And I think this is not just a societal thing, but it's a family thing where we start comparing our kids. Kono pasa, kono khaza, and then le ihlezi shaywa, awupasi, and you knock their confidence and you knock their account. If you'd picked out that they are differently abled and gifted, your child could have been a sports star, could have been an amazing musician, could have been. I hate our schooling system for its lack of flexibility in a world where human beings are so dynamic. And you find the people that enforce these things. You've got an EFF now where Umalima is saying all EFF leaders must have a qualification or Matric. And I'm like, this is stupid. You became a prolific leader before you got your little qualification. When we were still laughing, Wuti, people believed in you when we were still laughing that you failed woodwork.
Because you still this big.
Because tomorrow, when at Julius and the EFF, because you have this requirement of education, are going to be the same people that laugh at Msholozi. I dropped out in grade 4. And we're like, leadership is not a qualification on paper. Leadership is how well you serve, how well you can solve problems.
Yeah.
And if that's not the case, then you've lost it. School, again, like I said, it's one tool to making money and living a fulfilling life. But there are so many others. And the schooling system, in my opinion, doesn't do a good job. And that's why I get angry. Because, like I said, mine came natural. I looked at the kids that worked, that were at the library every day. Me say, babuya no 50. I mean, I don't study. Babuya no 95. Penuel, what do you do? Do you do extra classes? No. Do you have a tutor? No. Do you pass papers? No. Then I'm like, I pay attention in class. I do my homework. So I know I can't be used as a...
jealous of
I
those
know
kids,
sure, and I understand. It's like the child who... Gavin Jansen. Shout out to Gavin Jansen. Gavin Jansen was a colored gent in Newcastle. He went to Ferrum High School, but we went to Newcastle Senior Primary together. Gavin, in my years, was the fastest guy, I think, in northern KwaZulu-Natal. So Gavin comes to one interprovincial athletics meeting. Drunk, out of his mind, because he loved weed. He chills with us. We come from different schools, but it's interprovincial. I'm there to do middle distance. Some of my gents are there to do triple jump or placing Vilagazi or Cherizul. We're there. Gavin is out. He sleeps the whole thing. When they call, I think at the time it used to be men's under 19. I think that's how they called it when you were 18 or whatever. Men's under 19 sprints, please come in. Listen, Gavin, wake up. Hey, brah, I can't, brah. Hey. Gavin, it's time to go run, brah. Gavin uhambe etoilet ushaya a joint. Uyabuya, he doesn't have a starting block. He doesn't have spikes. He runs barefoot. Uyahamba mfethu uyastretcha. Amajita kade stretch. If anyone knows athletics, the guys who do 100 meters, because it's the main event.
Yeah.
For like 2-3 hours, they stretch and they do their things and they have their people come and rub their deep heats and they speak to their coaches and they have their shades and they listen with their earphones. And one of them say, you know, babuye bahambe on the track, babuye bebuka track kanje.
Yeah.
Uthi kuse yabo uthi kuse ngizoyinyisa le. Kevin uyafika lapha fana ugqoka ivest yaseferrame elengayo. He goes and he gets there late and then they start. It was the heats. He starts and Gavin had like you saying, Paul, he had a horrible start. So Makrumis Pamu, he's lost and then he catches up. But the way he ran, so he broke the interprovincial record. You know, this is when you speak like urban legends. Amachita that play rugby, especially in the Eastern Cape. These are the stories that get them excited. So he goes and he breaks the record. And he had this thing that I still copy now because Usia Kolisi does it as well where ubambizandla ngefika ngathi uantiza. So he had this walk. Usia Kolisi does it when he's on the field as well. I'm watching him and I've got goosebumps all over. I go to him, I'm like, fuck Gavin. So then it's the finals. Now someone goes and they get him a starting block. They try to give him spikes. He's like, I don't know how to run in spikes. And they're running on grass. That's the other thing. I think he ran 9 seconds something. No, I'm lying. That's an Olympic time. He ran 10-1. 10-1.
That's still crazy.
Oh man, what was the time? I don't want to lie to you. So Brian Penner was running a 10-8. Gavin may have run a 10-7. 10-7, 10-6. Mind you, it was handheld, so it's whatever. It may not have been. He may have been slower. And it was on grass.
Yeah.
And no spikes. But I'm watching this guy, bro. I remember watching Usain Bolt. The year may have been, I know I was shooting an ad at the time at Ernst & Young with Utabete. I'm not sure what her name is. Tando. No, it's not Utando. There's a lady, she's an actress. She's got a child with Tebogo Touch.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
I was shooting a Joko ad with the Ernst & Young, and I remember stopping to watch Usain Bolt break the 200-meter record, Michael Johnson. He'd just broken the world record for the 100 meters easily, the bad start, and it wasn't even his. It's not his race. He's a 400-meter athlete and a 200. 100, why I say Zamanje? Because you have to be a certain type of athlete. People that know these things,
okay,
the technique. Because my brothers run national universities. Pensy now, he's quite fast. Let me not even say he thinks. I think his best time is 10-8. So with the 200, Michael Johnson, who'd held the record for so long, said that he doesn't think Bolt is ready. And the rumors had come out that at the Olympic Village, Bolt was visiting everyone with a bucket of KFC, saying, I said, you're like, athletes don't eat KFC. What the fuck? And he was busy pumping reggae and hip hop. You're like, But everyone was waiting to watch him. And now he'd broken the 100-meter record. And you're like, what the fuck? And he gets to the 200 meters and he was wearing his Jamaican vest and some short thing underneath, some short t-shirt. And I could see on his face that he was focused. And Bolt was generally not focused. He cracks jokes when he starts. He pulls these faces on camera.
Yeah.
He was focused. And he was not running against anyone but himself and the clock. And my eyes watered watching him while I was at Ernst & Young. And obviously I was taken back to Gavin. And what was my point even? School athletes having different capabilities.
Yeah. Pass rate.
No, we were speaking about kids that have natural gifts.
Yeah.
That's actually what you were speaking about. And Gavin had a natural gift of running. Sorry, I went on a tangent. He broke his record that day. He went to go and run SA Junior Champs. They caught him with weed and then they chased him home or something. Those classic stories, and there's a lot of them.
And I'm fit with a guy,
We've got soccer players in this country. There's this guy from Mpumalanga who's trended on social media because he has intelligent videos. He drops bombs. I think it was Tembisa. Now, he was interviewed by these guys, Ulala. You know, I think now we are cool, but so intelligent. Anyways, Gavin was a natural athlete. Our schooling system doesn't exploit that to the max, and it makes me so angry. And I think some of us have an ability, and that's why when I hear parents saying, no, but his marks, he's struggling with maths, I'm like, what is he getting? 30%. So he must get a tutor and extra so that he can get 40, 50 and call that an improvement. I'm like, this child is not a mathematical child. If they have basic arithmetic and they can count, they must drop maths and focus on where they're strong at. You are talking about plays and drama, and like, this is where this kid is at. This is he's so good at drawing, but his maths is so... Let the child draw. Sir Ken Robinson, another favorite story of mine. Sir Ken Robinson, I think he's passed on now. British knighted, academic enthusiast or whatever, professional. One of the best TED Talks, if you look at the top 10 TED Talks, one of those is his, where he speaks about education and the importance of the arts and not just the science and the maths. And he tells the story of a young girl whose parents were brought in because he says at the time it wasn't called that, but it's what we'd call ADHD today. The parents are brought in, your child can't sit still. They lose focus in class, they what. So the child eventually went to a therapist, and the therapist spent time with the child. The therapist calls the parents. I'd like you to see something. The parents come in, they put the child in a room, like let's say our room. The parents are out there. Let's say the door is slightly open.
Child is not aware.
The child's not aware. The therapist switches on music, and the child starts dancing. And the therapist says, there's nothing wrong with your child. Your child's a dancer. So they decided to take the child out. Shout out to the parents. Shout out to the therapist. Because these are the things a lot of us miss.
But therapists, they're going to want to box the child. That's the thing.
Take Ritalin.
Hey.
The child needs extra tutoring. Knowing about shaiwanga. Knowing about, and you start fucking with the child's confidence. So luckily, this child was taken to a dance school. Shout out to the parents. It's like Lynn and Tony Forbes, where AK wanted to rap. And they supported him from St. John's. The parents took the girl to a dance school. She eventually ended up in Juilliard, which I think is the premier arts school in the world.
Okay.
She's written some of the biggest plays, which I've just never looked up the name.
Oh, okay.
Some of the biggest dance plays in the world. And if that person was forced to do maths and what, we would have lost out on a talent.
But the parent does that pen just so the child can just pass.
I
so
understand,
getting the tutor and whatnot is not necessarily for you to become what you are.
No, I understand.
But it's just an extra 10% Matric.
So some of us are very intelligent.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm saying leaders in the country are meant to be the most intelligent.
And
they're meant to be able to articulate to the parents and to the system that these are the fundamentals needed to just get by in life. Your child must learn money management because all of us have to deal with money.
Yeah.
Your child has to learn basic tax because we all pay tax. Your child needs to be able to deal with people in society, speak to them, say please, say thank you. This is how society works.
Yeah.
Your child must understand the law. This is a crime. You'll end up in jail. At consequences of things. But outside of that, we now have a responsibility to create a dynamic space where we are going to find the best of your child's abilities because this is where they are going to best suit society. Your child is going to be... Trevor Noah didn't go to tertiary. Look at him. I don't know where Uncle Snati went to school, but he's DJ Black Coffee today. Someone could have been like, "Ay, lona uningale yodwa." Ay. So, and you're like, "Uzotitsheka kanjani uningale yodwa?" And then you miss, and you almost force these kids to fight beyond, and they become superstars. And I'm saying there are black coffees that are not superstars, but that are able in a certain way. And if we could be like, look, le ingane kanje asizamela. Let's get them to do this. Why is the child who is athletically built, speaks well, is good looking, why are they sitting in a cubicle every day on a laptop? Do you see it's a misuse of a resource? Good looking, great athlete, speaks well. This child should be somewhere else. Because this happens in companies. You find someone who's very dynamic in the wrong department.
Yeah.
If you were to put them in communications, marketing, no. The thing is, I'm an investment banker. No. Yes, it pays well, but you're making 100,000 a month. You can make 500,000 a month if you work in marketing in this company, because you might be the best marketing guru ever. But you've told yourself, because when you do marketing, you're going to be dynamic. You're going to, we miss out on some of these things. And that makes me sad. I wanted to go back because I'm still answering your question. Again, on Podcast and Chill. I realized as I got older, when I was judging those people, is I'm speaking from a place of privilege where if you are rich, if you're a entrepreneur and you make 500,000 a month and you drive a fancy Mercedes Benz and you live in beautiful home in Morningside or in Danefern, I can come take your girl.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I drive a Tez. I make 20, 30,000 rand a month. I don't get tenders, of course. I don't club like you club. I don't pop bottles at Konka. So the question is, how did I manage to get your girl? No, powerful. Well, it's umuti, but umuti wami is my ability to speak a certain way, to sell certain dreams. And when I get a chance in a room with that girl, my game, you'll call it game, or my intelligence is worth more to her than the money you bring. And that's how I get her. In the same breath, the girl that I'm with, that I got through my mouth, and because I've got a PhD and I live in a nice townhouse, she will leave me for a guy with a Ferrari, for a guy who earns $1 million a month, because his money is worth more than whatever she's getting from me. So I realize we have different value propositions in life. And the reason, because a lot of people would be confused, how do you get to sit with politicians and big business people and famous people? Like, what is it? And I'm like, it's because I have something that other people don't have. It's not money. Maybe for some girls, also looks. She's like, this guy's rich, but he's a gorilla. At least he has a pencil. You know?
They're going to be smart.
No, I'm talking about looks.
Oh, looks.
Oh my gosh.
Do people say that?
Your kids are so cute. Congrats on your child. So she's like, okay, no, I think.
So I know petama gene. You've got good genes, looks, intelligent.
So my parents gave me my looks. So that's another natural thing that I can't take credit for.
Okay.
And I live in a world where the way I look is deemed good looking. There may have been a time in history where my height, my physical strength, I'd probably be on the ugly side of life, because they'd be like, hey, women don't want to sleep with this guy. They don't want short kids. And if we go into war, he's going to lose. Yeah. So I live in a world where my eyebrows, maybe the tone of my skin, because in another space, the fact that I'm light is like, you don't have melanin. What's happening? Albino. What's going on? And you're like, no, it's whatever it is. I'm hairy. In certain spaces, maybe that would be like, no, you're too hairy.
So the spaces are in.
So I'm born in a time where the people that define the template for looks, I get to win. Nyana. You know what I mean? But those are my parents. So shout out to them. I didn't earn that. What's happening?
No, someone is smiling.
Oh.
As you're speaking about looks and
looks and such things and the like and so on and so forth, you know, in the same category of things. So my looks, my ability to have a photographic memory, I'd like to think arguably my desire for knowledge and curiosity is not something that was taught to me. I had it naturally. Where the next child is running, I'm reading. Why are you reading? Why do you want to read the ingredients? That is generally not something you teach. It's something that's inborn.
Okay.
Sense of adventure. And so where I lack is a fighting instinct, physical. So I'm not naturally a fighter. I can defend myself, but angilwi. So makhona impi angeke ubize mina. Esisenje nekusibiza uPenzo uzowanyisa lamachita. Khona impintshi yami unhlonipho mdakani Nkunzimalanga that I matriculated with. He was my best friend in Matric. The other problem is he was 100 kgs in Matric and not 100 kgs of ubdudla. He was tall and he was big. And I'm sure in Newcastle he could probably mur everyone in every school. You know, but he was smart. That's how we actually became friends. And people didn't understand why I hung out with him. But umelkomwa shayana. So makhona impi, you'd be like, they wouldn't call me. They'd call me if they say, Kutiwa, they're going to take the land. It's a debate for the land. Call Penzo.
Penzo, 1652.
Look, in terms of the land, as far as the statistical analysis of the... That's what gives guys like Eusebius Makaiser confidence.
Yeah,
he's homosexual. Yeah. He's a bit on the big side. Yeah. He's colored. But because he's smart, he's like, when it comes to chat, I'll knock you. Yeah. Come with your slender body and whatever, but so you work with what you have. So I've got that, but I don't have a fighting instinct. I'm not a natural amazing fighter. My brother's much better than me and he's putting in work. I don't have a corrupt gene in me naturally. So I'd have to work on it. What that gene does for you is gives you a very easy ability to make a lot of money very quickly. So some of the richest people are rich because they very comfortably are able to exploit the labor and the sweat of others. So, yeah, you get what I'm saying? So things like getting into politics, I would struggle to ascend because killing other people, stamping on other people would be tough.
You're gonna quit day 2 because they told you to sign off this tender. Like, no, I can't. It's moral. It's not correct.
Sure. So I've had to work on that. And look, this is why I love superhero movies, because that's the story of my journey. It's you want to be a superhero. I don't know who's a good example of a superhero. Maybe let's use Batman. Let's use Batman. Even though I don't like him as
my favorite superhero, man.
I don't like him. Look, I thought Batman was overrated for a long time. I'm slowly learning to appreciate why his story is so important. There are so many aspects of it which are why he's important compared to others. So there are other superheroes with other things. So if you're a female, you want to find a female superhero that speaks to you. If you're a black female, you want to find a black female. If you're African, you want to find like Okoye, I think is her name, who's the general in Black Panther and Wakanda. So she speaks to an African girl. The Batman story, for a lot of people, you'd lose him because he's from a wealthy family, Wayne Industries. It's like Stark Industries. These are billionaires. And they're not self-made billionaires. They inherited wealth. So you're like, no, go fuck yourself. You were born of a rich family. You got bored. You decided to create a suit of armor and you go fight crime. So for some people, you lose them versus the next superhero, because some of the more popular superheroes are middle-class people. Normal. Some of them are kids who were also scared and cowards. The sad thing is with a lot of those, like a Spider-Man, he didn't work to become a superhero. He got bitten by a spider that had whatever properties. Captain America, he didn't build himself. This is why we love Rocky. That's why the Rocky movies are so powerful, because it's this Italian back of the street guy. Because Italians at the time were seen as others, in America. It's like, you're scum. It's this Italian guy, back of the street. He's a boxer. He's not really smart. Even his wife at some point is like, Adrian, Adrian, I'm not really smart, boxing all I got, So he finds this boxing thing and he gets a half chance, and then he builds himself into a machine. And especially when he's fighting Dolph Lundgren, who is Ivan Drago, I think in Rocky V, as a Russian super built athlete, funded. And he goes and he's chopping wood. He's like, it's the classic underdog story. Or Spider-Man are bitten by thing. Captain America was a project. So you can't really aspire to that. It was a project. So you want to find a superhero that makes sense. But for me, I've had to be like, who is the superhero who was not naturally strong, who was scared of bad guys? And the story of Batman now is Batman Begins, which is Christopher Nolan, with Liam Neeson in the movie, where Batman, to toughen himself up, gets himself locked up in jail. So he fights. A lot of us as men, we're scared of jail. And someone can be like, I'm going to go to jail. Whether committing a crime, or whether I'm going to visit jail as a therapist, a motivational speaker. Khona ngizojoyela amachita, ngikhulume namachita, ngithi can I spend a night here, just ukuyiqinisa kind of situation. So Bruce Wayne does that in Batman Begins to fight and strengthen himself.
And he goes to the shadows, no?
If these are the baddest guys in society, I want to fight these guys that the people out there are scared of. So when I go out, I'm comfortable with Tabalana, you know what I mean? And then he goes to the League of Shadows, where now these are the vigilante ninja guys who are, know. So by the time he goes into, and then he does this thing which, when I use a rugby reference for rugby people, Sonny Paul Williams.
Soccer reference?
No, this is close to my heart. Sorry about the soccer reference.
But soccer
people will fill insert similar.
Sure.
Sonny Paul Williams is an Islamic New Zealand Samoan rugby player who was the heavyweight champion of boxing in New Zealand. Then he went into rugby union. Then he went into rugby league, and then rugby union, which is what we play. And he didn't really know how to play. He had to learn the rules, but he's huge. He's built like a machine. Physical specimen. Even from a rugby perspective, there's rugby players who are big. It's like LeBron.
Okay.
There's basketballers where you're like, oh, you're a baller. Missing LeBron. And you're like, what's this? Or Shaq. You're like, yeah. So he's a specimen. He came in as a Muslim. He did a lot for Islam amongst the gents. And Sonny Bill became the best center in the world. And he was playing for a rugby team in New Zealand, or he was playing for the All Blacks, and he was going to play the Springboks, I think in Cape Town. And at the time, the two best centers were Jacques Fourie and Jean de Villiers, who became Springbok captain. And they were like, how do you feel? And Sonny Bill said, I can't explain how excited I am. And they're like, but you're the best center in the world. He's like, I don't know. I believe I'm going to play the best centers in the world. And depending on how I fare against them, then I'll know where I stand. So these superheroes constantly, and this is Dragon Ball Z, Abo Goku. This is, they constantly pit themselves against challenges. And they're like, if I defeat this guy, I become stronger and better. And everyone else now has to fucking bow down to me. So Batman does that in Batman Begins. Of course, he reaches Christopher Nolan. Marvel have given us some of the greatest villains. So we were introduced to Bane. And Bane had the classic...
I am the League of Shadows.
So Bane comes with a beautiful narrative that we had to learn that... And I gave you the story of terrorism and how Americans will tell us who are terrorists.
Yeah.
But then from the terrorist perspective, it's Americans who are terrorists. And they almost even have data. Like, but these guys have a military base in our country. We don't have a military base in their country. These guys have bombed our country. We've never bombed their country. But we're the terrorists. Make it make sense.
Sure.
So Bane, from his perspective, is a good guy trying to fix the world like Thanos. You know, and that's why we love him.
Yeah, the same.
And
exactly.
When Bruce Wayne meets Bane, Bane has respect for Bruce Wayne. I mean, Bane has respect. He's like, look, you're the Batman. You know, you're a bad dude, and I appreciate that you're trying to uproot corruption. Because that's the whole thing in Gotham City. Gotham City is now run by corrupt cops, corrupt businessmen, what we have in South Africa now. And Batman comes in, and it has to be a billionaire. It has to be Tony Stark. It has to be Johan Rupert.
Yeah.
It has to be Nicky Oppenheimer, who's like, I'm going to fix South Africa, because if not us, then who? We have the money. We have the will. We can fund the police and the judges and the politicians to do the right thing versus the people who are funding them to kill and murder and whatever. So it has to be me, you know. So Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, Bane is like, I respect you because I see what you're trying to do. Heath Ledger's The Joker did the same. You and I are the same. We're trying to fix society, but in different ways. What you don't understand is you're fixing what I was saying about blacks. You're trying to fix a society that's already corrupt. These people don't respect you. They don't like you. They see you as a freak like me. If you were to make one mistake, you'll become a villain tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's also the story of Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or live long enough to be a villain. So Nelson Mandela dying in prison, immortalized as a hero. Nelson Mandela coming out, working with whites, speaking about a rainbow nation, now becomes a villain. Now he's a sellout, whatever. So Heath Ledger, Bane is like, I respect you. But it's like, the one thing you don't understand is you were created in the dark.
I was born in it.
I was born in it.
I didn't see the light until I was a young man. But then it was nothing to me but blinding. Those are the best lines in movies in Twana. But anyway, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, Melistrola Academy Award. You know, if we're in America, I think the Penuel Show would win an Emmy.
You think so?
True story. I think the work we do here, if we're on an American platform,
You're very right.
Yeah.
Level that we are on.
would win an Emmy.
But you can win an Emmy as an African production, though.
We need to submit
So we
it,
need to
man.
submit.
Yeah.
No, we'd need to submit, number one. Number two, I don't want American validation. So, I don't
Why
wanna,
not submit?
I don't want to go on a
and
tangent.
not necessarily
No,
be
no,
based on.
No, we can
the
submit. I don't
validation.
mind. I don't mind. No, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't want to go off on a tangent. Why am I speaking about the Emmys?
You can just
your,
talk,
your
man.
little monologue.
Ndwana, come on, man.
Black Africans need to learn to love themselves and value themselves beyond validation.
Yeah.
Because as long as we wait for validation, it means we give other people the license to decide for us who must get the Nobel Prize. And it may not be the person that we feel deserves it. Maybe we want to win, but they'll say, no, she was violent and a terrorist.
Yeah,
and they'll give it to
100%.
Desmond Tutu
Sure.
for forgiving oppressors. You know, so we shouldn't need Black Coffee to win a Grammy. Ladysmith Black Mambazo.
To say Bantoye.
Trevor, no, we don't need that. We should be like, no, Yizo's dope. We don't need it to win an Emmy.
I value we don't. I
We
think
don't
that's
need
the
it
one
to win
thing where we're
anything.
like, we don't need any validation
We don't need
from
any
anyone.
validation.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
was dope. When Ricele doesn't need to win a posthumous
Yeah.
But it
Oscar.
elevates it.
No, in the world, because we understand Americans have the biggest platform.
Yeah.
We understand the game and how it works, but we should always be good enough. We should always be dope enough. We shouldn't need the comments or for Joe Rogan to be like, hey, you guys are doing well. We're like, we know we're doing well.
Yes.
But thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
but-
you for seeing us.
Yeah.
But we know
I
we're
get
doing
you.
well.
I get you. But we
So-
were submitted.
So Batman had to fight that. I wanted to speak about validation quickly. So Steve Hansen is the last previous coach of the All Blacks. And one of the questions he was asked, because I'm a huge rugby fanatic, I just haven't been watching rugby in the past 3 years. Steve Hansen is asked, how do you pick players to become All Blacks? Steve Hansen's a bit of a cunt, bit of a fucking asshole.
Is it?
So he speaks with this fucking Michael Checker from the Wallabies in Australia was similar. Steve Hansen in his arrogant tone is like, we don't select and pick All Blacks. In the way you're playing, you're already an All Black. By the time we put you in our system, we're just teaching you our systems, but you're already that. So by the time we invite you, you're already there. We shouldn't pick you and then develop you into an All Black.
Sure.
So
You are that thing.
Trevor Noah was that thing.
Yeah.
When he got to America. Black Coffee was that thing. Your 10,000 hours. By the time, if ever it happens, we sit at the Joe Rogan Experience, the Breakfast Club, whatever. If Casper Nyovest, I think it's something that, I don't know if it's him or AKA, they want to perform at the O2 in London, O2 Arena. People like Burna Boy, Davido, Wizkid. You want to get to a level where when you're acting in a Hollywood movie, people are like, who the fuck is this? You're like, well, you guys are meeting him now. Or meeting her now. We've been. This is actually mild. You're seeing, this is not even him flexing. Wait till he or she flexes. Uzonyang impela, because you don't know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So you want kids to have that level of whatever. But my point was, I've had to work on certain things, and part of it is I'm the superhero who is a coward, who had to learn to be brave and use the skills I have, which is my mouth. Maybe lift a few weights, do a few push-ups, so at least physically I also look kind of there.
Yeah.
Maybe get a gun or two. But then you want to spend time with the hardest niggas. You know, and I said this on the virtual Mkuku, I've spent time with the Inkabi for my own reasons. It wasn't because I was doing research. I had my own dark patches where I was spending time with the Inkabi. You want to sit with these people that everyone fear. Because today, I will criticize Umiso Zulu, the king of the Zulus. You hear Tlatla Lux criticizing Amalima.
Hey,
is he not scared? You hear Uban, are they not? And you're like, you won't understand who we are, what we are, and what we're trying to build. Those men, women will respect us because they realize, Batman, I'm dealing with the same animal as me. Mm-hmm. I might have a higher body count, but I see you. And yeah, so I can see your value, and you have the license to criticize me. No one else has the license because bazo limal. But Penuel has the license to criticize Cyril and the ANC and Ace Magashule and DT Mabuza and the taxi mafia and the drug gangs. Why him? Because he's earned it. And maybe he sat with some of those guys and they're like, hey, look, Penuel is one of our boys. We don't have to do what he's saying, but let's listen to him because he's one of our boys.
Okay.
We understand him. He also knows his boundaries. When he was criticizing, it's not because he doesn't respect why we do what we do. It's because he's saying, gents, look, I understand, but not like this. You guys know you have a code. It's like the mafia. It's like, no, not like this. We don't do it like this. Or we don't do it like, you're raping women.
Yeah.
You're killing kids. You're like, we don't do that. Yes, we might peddle drugs, but it's escaping drugs. And look, these are customers, so you want to keep them for long. You're not trying to kill them. Why are people ODing? Why are people dying? Why are you guys pricing at 5 times the value? What the fuck are you doing? This is not how we operate. It's only when there's extreme disrespect and someone is wrong, like this person's disregarding how we do things.
Yeah.
So if Penuel understands that, we're like, look, we understand. And when he criticizes, let's say Umiso Zulu, It's not because I'm criticizing the O and I'm bashing him. It's because I'm saying the Zulu kingdom and the Zulu nation is known at a certain level and has a certain standard. And
what you've done coming in,
as maybe as Zulu, as an ex-Zulu, as saying this is not it. This is not the standard. This is not the ANC of Utambo. This is not the Springboks of Francois Pienaar and John Smith and Siya Kolisi. This is not it, boys. Do better. And anyone who is smart enough is be like, listen to this guy. This guy is not trying to kill us or destroy us, or he's not trying to trend, or he's not trying to get hurt. This guy is trying to get us to do better.
You're right.
So anyways,
Chabupule went on a thing on Monday. Did you see? Chabupule. Brian is like, no, guys, we can't play soccer like this. This does not make sense. Itabi. He was like, wait, man, what did I just watch? The whole first half, there's no goal on target. This makes no sense.
It's disrespectful to
the entire soccer. He was like, wait, man, that makes no sense. So you're right, man. Certain people can call out. Is the guest there?
I gave I gave a long answer to a easy question.
6-9, man.
Let me answer your question quickly, Mr. Yam. Are we shutting down? We've been at it for 2 hours.
For 2 hours?
Yeah. When the conversation is dope, this is how it's meant to flow.
Damn it.
That's why, sadly, for some people, you might have a conversation for 45 minutes because literally the juice ends. And that's the thing. You see the comments when I sit with like a Rutendo.
Yeah.
People are like, chance, you guys owe us like a 3 hour.
Yeah. Do you think what? Yeah, I think I would.
No, I don't want to chase time.
3 hour.
And I respect people's time and I'm happy. So I don't do industry things, but I like khabulisaring people, letting them eat and chew and digest. And look, he's not going anywhere. He's coming back. So we'll carry on.
I'm watching a 3 hour thing now. I didn't think I'd watch it.
But 3 hours is long, man. 3 hours. So anyways, I am currently building a religious group, but it's not really religious. I'm just calling it a name.
Okay.
I'm building an ideological group with myself as the center.
Okay.
Which then defines me as God, as the beginning and the end of my ideological movement. So that people that buy into what I stand for are like the beginning of my rebirth or my birth. My consciousness was Penuel. I realized I was a zombie before I met him. So he became the God. Penuel said, let there be light. And my brain saw light for the first time. And in that journey I'm in, we wear black every day, all the time. There's nothing wrong with wearing color. You're not a sellout. But it's just a code and a uniform and a uniformity. It's Batman's uniform.
Yeah.
Batman's a Penuelist. I've got obviously my book, Penuelism Principles, the principles that I'm supposed to live by and that Penuelists are supposed to live by, which borrow from universal principles that are across other religious scriptures. So because of that, this is my brand now. This is my vibe. And the reason I have the ability to do this, this was the long answer, was because I realized my source of dopeness is not in a suit. It's not in having an amazing physique. It's not in looking a certain way or having a certain hairstyle or wearing a certain watch or being aligned to a certain brand. I am the brand, and it's my brain and it's my voice. And this takes away everything. Where the next person who wants to be like us has to have a dope set and expensive cameras and hey, Kazu Penuel namhlanje. Kaze, who's the guest? The Penuel Show is doing something that people didn't think was possible, which is to invite anyone and have a dope chat. And they're like, who the fuck is this? Yeah. Where other people are like, no, but I'm scared to ban. And you're like, no, I'm going to show you guys that we can do dopeness without all of that. You know, and for me, this is a challenge, me versus me, where I must be able to do views on Penuel, the Black Pen, which rival the Penuel Show with my phone. To show you and the crew and other people that I can be dope without the set. You guys thought it was the set. You guys thought it was the uniform. You thought it was the label. I'm going to show you guys that I'm dope without all of that. You thought it was the guest.
Yeah.
You thought it was English.
It's me.
Watch. I'm going to show you that the juice is fucking me.
I see.
So that you can respect me as well and then respect what we're trying to do. That's why you were upset with what we've built at the Penuel Show. It's disrespectful when you want to assign it to certain people, and because we're doper than that. We don't need their validation, Podcast and Chill. We don't need DJ Sbo and the Hustlers Corner validation. We don't need an Emmy. We don't even need the audience and the comments. We know what we were trying to do. This is Chairman Mao Zedong, Mao Zedong, 100-year, 500-year plan. where we're saying we're planting seeds that people won't understand now because they caught up in the noise. Years from now, and Rutendo's told us that some of the conversations have been going into people's dissertations. We're doing that godly shit, which is going to shift mindsets and ideologies, and people that run countries are going to come back and watch, or the advisors are going to be like, look, let's hear what Penuel has to say. Or let's hear what this conversation has to say. And this is what's going to move us forward. Let's shut it down.
500-year plan. Damn. 50-year plan.
50-year plan.
50-year plan.
It's a lot. Tina, so we're on probably episode 40-something, if not late 30s.
And on YouTube.
So we've got a 100 episode plan.
Then we're going to go to 500.
And then we're going to have a boot camp.
Oh, yes.
Whoever's sponsoring,
yes.
that are sponsoring this thing, still ever see us somewhere nice.
When you
it would be nice.
Something.
Yeah, we must do something nice. Just us, get away.
Camping.
If gents have partners, get away, enjoy, and where possible, book like a conference thing and pretend to have a strat session and be like, guys, what do the next 400 episodes look like and where are we going? Are we going to Africa? Are we going overseas? Who do we want to sit with? That's dope.
And this is happening this year, though.
What is it going to look like?
It's happening this year.
No, but Angiti, Tina, we punch above our weight, which people don't know. But other things, and this is what makes you godly. So, shout out to MacG, by the way. Shout out to Podcast and Chill. But they got Dame Dash. They had Zola 7 at the cinema, 3 theaters. Then they did Black Coffee at 11, I think, theaters. They've gotten people to have lawsuits. They've gotten politicians to talk. There's some other milestones, man.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of milestones they've hit and things they've broken. So part of it is going to happen spontaneously, where we didn't even know. We're also shocked, like the viewers, like what the fuck just happened. And then other things we're gonna have to keep those close to
us,
play those close to our chest, and people are gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and that's when we'll be like, yeah, motherfuckers.
You know, man. You know what time it is, nigga.
You know what time it is, homie.
Before we shut it down, can I have a movie quote from whatever your favorite movie quote is?
This is why he's not 40 years old.
Movie
quote. You hit me with the one from.
I just hit you with the lines.
This is like a catch-up thing.
Just those lines. That's all I want.
Can the gents come sit down?
Yeah,
just to say hello.
No. I'm good.
Sees your car.
Are you a ghost gentleman? Ghost gent?
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't want to be in front of the camera. What's your reason again?
Probably owes people money. It's that hoodie and thing.
Is that MacG lifestyle?
And his name is not even Kgomotso. How Tebo? Can't you Sambam. We don't have voice. Sis, you can come through and say what's up to the people.
I've said what's up though.
Oh, he's coming next week or something. Yeah.
Okay, anyways, shout out to Sizwe, shout out to Kgomotso, Q left, shout out to Q, shout out to Yenzi, of course, in absentia. Shout out to Dr. Sumbulu as well, who's a ghost lady here.
Doctor's always with us, eh?
Hey, as we like a sports team, but we've got a doctor, Stingy Physio, Stingy, you know?
Open Physio?
He's not a physio, he's our fitness. Kgomotso also doubles up as a stylist of sorts. And Q sometimes unokufaki powder, so Q is our makeup lady. Hey, akufani shame.
No, I do the makeup, man. Don't take my job.
No, Q was the first person who fagi powder.
With our first app, ne?
No, nokufaka.
Yeah,
to remove the shine.
Yeah, just gangad. We don't do that anymore, man, because we're trying to be real. If you are,
right.
If I'm to shine, I'm shine.
Man, this episode is for you guys. So from my side, I think we're creating dope shit, but dope shit is nothing without an audience. So I know I talk a lot of shit. I know to be honest, but I do appreciate you. We actually don't take you guys for granted. YouTube pays us because you guys watch, because you guys share, because some of you guys are actually paying members, which is pretty dope, man. You know, it means a lot to me. And like in my little gay moments, sometimes I get teary-eyed.
Gay?
And when I meet you guys,
moments.
Well, gay/feminine. We're starting to be bolder to cancel culture. You know, before we'd be like, we can't say that. Now we're like, no, I don't believe in that. Andrew Tate, what?
I see what you're saying.
But in some of my softer moments, man, I do get emotional. And some of you guys that I bump into, because Nyazul, I mean, around South Africa, and it's pretty dope to meet you guys. And I think maybe what I need to start doing, I just don't know on which platform, is every time I meet a fan or whatever, be like, let's do a quick video.
Oh, on the phone.
Guys, thank you very much to the Penuel Show. Love the work you guys doing. And we post. And like, it's like testimonials. It's fan shout outs. Some of the fans, I know they put out clips, and I reshare I retweet and I reshare on Instagram and on Facebook. But I mean, we love you guys, man, so much. And we're hoping that you guys will grow with us. And in time, once we know what we're doing, because we don't really know what this thing is. I mean, Inganena 7-8 months.
Yeah, I know.
It's barely walking. Yeah. So hopefully a lot of you guys are going to join us at some point, and we'll meet you and we'll host something, man. And we'll.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments.
Because that'll be really dope. We love you, man. We love you from the bottom of our hearts.
People want to come through. I don't know who we'll pick one person to come through. Have you seen those people that be like, no, I want to come on your show. I'm going to say something smart. I'm reading those comments. I'm like, until you sit here, ne?
Can you? So what those people want is they want us to do a studio audience vibe, where we let people like ask questions and chat or give a comment, and we just do that for like 3 hours, 4 hours, and then we'll record, and then we'll take snapshots of some.
Dude, you know what? Coming to think of it, man, even from the crew, not this crew, the other crew for the other shows, they've come to me like, no, you know, my husband is smart, man. He must come on the Penuel Show. Like, man, you know, and I think you'd love his content. And I'm like, ish.
I've had very, very senior politicians, very big business people. I've had high intellectuals be like, you know, I'm doing this thing. I've written this thesis, what's that? Yeah. And, you know, normally how I gatekeep, because we gatekeep, is I'll ask the crew, I'll ask the crew and I'll feed back. The other thing is, look, it's always nice when you tell people, look, do you have any content that we can reference?
Yeah.
Because if you've done an interview, if you have your own videos where you speak, it helps us. It's like an interview. It's like a job. I tell people all the time, a CV is not enough. Can you make videos on social media where you're presenting? So that someone's like, hey, this person deserves to have a dope job. He's always in a lacquer suit. It's not just a piece of paper. Where Ubongani Shabalala here. And Ubongani was saying how he got into the TUT. I think it was TUT. Is he submitted his results, which are dog shit.
Yeah.
But he sent all the newspaper clippings of his running marathons. Yeah. And that becomes the thing. Like, what are you dope at? It's what we were speaking about earlier. Show us what you dope at. You know, some of these sneaky tertiary institutions be like, send a picture. Because they're like, hey, so shy first year. Trash.
But we're both like that, man. We need to see something nice and beautiful. Looking at other men is not interesting.
Okay. The Penuel Show, we're out, man. Cheers.
Dude, I need to.